these days.
Okay.
It's popular.
Popular.
You know?
We
Well,
are-
that's
we
the
are pretty-
definition.
yeah.
We should change it for sure.
I think just pop.
Pop. We're a
Yeah,
pop
we're
band.
straight
You guys are a rap group?
Yeah, our,
Yeah.
our favorite
Oh my
band is
God.
Walk the Moon, Imagine Dragons.
Well, so we like to play a little game called Down the Line. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, name, position in the band, and maybe your favorite ice cream flavor.
Ooh, okay, solid. I'm Sid. I sing and play bass. My favorite ice cream flavor is probably mint chocolate chip.
Mint chocolate chip.
Did you say fucking ew?
I said
Psychopath
ew.
choice.
Oh, can we swear on
Oh,
this?
yeah.
Oh yeah, say whatever you want.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I fucked
Yeah.
it.
We don't believe in sense.
That's
All
fucking
right.
disgusting.
I kind of like set the tone. I didn't mean
Fucking
it. It's
toothpaste ice cream.
But by the time
Oh, yeah,
I
he
said it, I was
said-
like,
No, you made me feel welcome. It was important.
I'm glad I didn't fuck it up for everybody.
I'm Bell. I play guitar and sing, and I'm gonna go with like a triple chocolate fudge.
Triple
Brownie.
chocolate fudge.
Yeah,
Triple.
I just made my own.
Yeah, make your own ice cream
Yeah,
flavors.
I made my own.
Oh, what are you, a Costco boy?
Yeah, no,
Double chunk chocolate chip cookie.
we bring the boom.
Ice
We
cream.
certainly bring the boom.
The double
Sorry?
joke.
I'm JoJo. I play drums, and I guess anything with caramel in it, pretty much.
Fuck
Anything with
yeah.
caramel. Okay, that's
Caramel.
valid.
Everybody down the
Do
line
you just
said
hate
something.
ice cream? Are you just like an ice cream
I mean,
hater?
One that's brushing your teeth
Yeah,
while
that's
eating
toothpaste.
candy.
Okay,
That's
I get
too
that.
much chocolate. Caramel is just like I had too much as a kid and now I hate it forever. But
Well,
my
Colin's the type of guy to say caramel instead.
no, I literally just said caramel.
Who made you the fucking king of ice cream?
The ice
Like,
cream.
what is your
Me,
problem?
I made myself the ice cream king. And let me tell you why. Because my
Oh.
favorite
Like
ice cream
relative.
flavor, is once I went down to Southern Illinois, Carbondale, and I got a cinnamon ice cream. And the guy told me it was rare. And
That
it was the
sounds
best
good.
ice cream I've ever
Rare
had.
cinnamon ice
Yeah,
cream.
Where
just
have
got-
you seen it?
You just got played. You probably paid like $20 for that.
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't
but
pay
how-
for
what
it.
makes
Let me
it
tell you
rare?
that.
What makes that ice cream so rare?
Because like they don't have cinnamon ice cream in most places. Like think of
They
well,
can't grow cinnamon ice cream.
7-Eleven
I've had-
cinnamon toast
I've had
crunch
cinnamon
ice cream.
ice cream.
okay, that's different. That's
That-
like
it's
a
not as
garbage
rare?
mill. That's like just General
just,
Mills
take, like,
putting their
They just
poison
take
in
like
you.
vanilla ice cream and put some cinnamon in it.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I
I'm
don't
gonna-
work there, but it was yeah no.
So they bought ice cream. They bought a $2 can of cinnamon. They're all like,
they sprinkled
this-
it in
this-
there,
this is
yeah, and
special
I
now.
said, "Run this up, run it up on the bill." It was $60 per bite.
Jesus.
Delicious. No, just kidding. So cinnamon ice cream is
Okay.
my answer. Oh, and my
Cinnamon
name
ice
is
cream.
Colin Moore. I don't know if I said,
what's
and
your
my
position?
major
What's
is
position?
no.
Talker.
I play
Okay,
guitar
yapper.
and sing, and
Professional yapper.
sometimes
And
play
yap.
banjo, and the harmonica once.
Nice, hell yeah. So, before we get started on your band, I want to start talking about how you guys got into music in general, or I guess first of all, do you guys remember like the band or the song or like the moment where you guys were like, I want to do music, you know?
Mine's pretty. I think these guys all know mine from off the top of the head. Cause
I guess we'll start
feel
with you
like-
then. Yeah, just go
I
down the
feel
line
like
with you, bro.
I'm- well, I'll get it done quickly because these guys hate when I
No,
talk.
go-
Well,
feel
get it
free,
done
man.
quickly.
This is about you, bro.
Yeah, this is the Colin Hour. Welcome
can
to the
go ahead,
Colin
Max.
Hour. So my first like memory was sitting in the back of my mom's Trailblazer on my way to like preschool or something, and hearing the song "Mad Season" by Matchbox 20. And just the way the vocals were produced, Rob Thomas just sounded so interesting to me. And I remember being, however old you are, 3 or 4 or whatever, and being like, well, that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a singer. And through the rest of my life, I've just like maintained that sort of like destiny and tried to put myself in positions like that. So for me, it was never really I was just born like, okay, I'm going to be a singer. So it was never much of a, like as I got into different bands, they more swayed the way I would approach it rather than my desire to do it, because that was there from the start. JoJo?
Yeah, that's kind of like a good. I feel like that's the same for me. Like I feel like I was always like tapping on shit like all the time. Like my parents eventually like, shut up, we're gonna buy you jump sets, so stop fucking annoying us. And yeah, I feel like any bands I was into kind of just more influenced what I was playing and how I was playing. But I kind of was always like, music was always a part of me, and like I grew up like with so many different types of music through my dad and my mom, and like I feel like that was just always a part of me. I guess like one of the first bands like I really connected with, which was like super embarrassing, was Coldplay.
Coldplay.
That's not embarrassing.
It's
man.
Those
slightly
first two albums are decent.
Oh my god!
In My Place.
Their first album
Yeah.
though,
Oh.
Parachutes. I still listen. to
Yeah,
that.
it's great.
Parachutes
Sparks is an
great.
amazing song,
Yeah.
and they're not Zionist dogs like Radiohead.
I was
so
literally gonna mention
Coldplay
that. Let's
forever.
go.
Yeah, Coldplay is friends of Shotgun.
The first artist I ever got into was Britney Spears. So I mean,
Okay, but Britney Spears
Love
is like
it.
fire though. Come on.
It's not this different than Coldplay. You know.
No,
Britney
Britney Spears is an
It's Britney,
icon.
baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Let's see what Britney thinks about
Yeah,
the Middle
what
East,
the-
and
what
then
the-
we
what
can
the-
continue.
Exactly. Yeah.
please, someone get a hold of Britney now.
We need her thoughts.
We got world problems that we need her to solve.
Yes, Britney Spears
Send her-
following.
What's happening in
It's
Bells?
Britney, bitch. She saves the world.
I don't have like a long story. I feel like mine was just like watching Nirvana live at Reading on DVD. I felt like I
Nice.
was just like, I didn't really think about it. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it.
Nirvana.
I wasn't like, this is what I want to do. I think I was just like,
What about Nirvana stuck out to you? That you were just like, this is what I want to do.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, how old were you?
Maybe like the heaviness. I was probably in like third, second grade.
The queerness.
So maybe like the heaviness and like the performance of it, because that's the one where he comes out with this say love, and he like falls over, and yeah, I think it was that, but also probably the melody too, because they're
Yeah.
really melody forward, so it's not heavy without purpose.
Gotcha. Hell yeah, that's cool.
I have always loved all kinds of music. I grew up like, I don't know, like 7th grade, like had a Linkin Park phase.
Hell yeah.
And then I really loved Alkaline Trio and went to a lot of shows. And I went to see like their bands all the time before I started music, which was only like 2 years ago. I was like a writer, so I kind of just like meshed those worlds together. And I'd say like the one big band that really helped me when I like, it's been like an all-time favorite is Thursday.
Thursday, hell
Like
yeah.
that's when I write, especially bass lines. I'm like following Tim Payne's method of writing. Yeah, they're just like I embody that band when I write a song.
Hell yeah, for sure. And so you guys in your bio, it says you guys go through a rotating number of drummers. Are you their official drummer? Like, what's going on with that?
We've actually
love
settled
JoJo.
down.
We've settled down with JoJo
Recently,
for the time
we
being.
Started a
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's our
expecting
number
in
one
the
draft
suburbs.
pick.
Number one draft pick. Hell yeah.
That's hilarious.
You know, he has some commitment issues, but
Hey, so
That's
do I.
only fair,
No, just-
yeah.
no. But we love JoJo.
He
JoJo's our
writes
number
with
one.
us. He records
Yep.
with us. It's been that way for the whole year.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and this is a relatively new band, so it's been over half of Shotgun
Yeah.
has been JoJo.
That's
So, yeah.
Yeah.
How did you guys find JoJo?
I mean,
We've
I was
been
thinking about
JoJo
this the other
for
night.
years.
I
What
met you
a-
when you were still, what, like 17,
I was
18?
like 17 years old.
That's
yeah.
so
Jesus.
crazy.
Yeah.
We
When
met in like 2021.
Yeah.
was it 23?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
at
must
book-
have been.
at
At
book
book
club.
club.
Book
Yep.
club.
Yeah. That was I was 19 then, or maybe
Okay.
Yeah,
18,
okay.
19.
Mhm.
Because I joined my other band when I was 17 years old. That was my first band ever.
What was it called?
And Cut Your Losses.
Oh shit.
And so we were here.
Oh
we
yeah,
were
you
here,
guys
we
were on
played.
here
Yeah,
a couple
Yeah.
months ago.
And yeah, I've been to a lot of like Bell and Moore's like old band Andy's Take. I've been to a lot of Andy's Takeout shows, and I've been a big fan.
Some might say you are our only fan.
Only fan.
Only
And yeah, I've been really connected to their music since the very first time I saw them. And when they told me they were like done with Andy's Take, I was like fucking heartbroken.
Oh.
But
But not for long.
not for long. And when they finally had Shotgun Funeral like in the works, and like when that came out and when they released their first songs, like when they finally got around to asking me, because I was waiting, you know,
like finally.
finally, God, I told them like I already know like all the 4 songs that you have out, like I already know them.
That's so true.
And like I tell that
awesome.
story like a lot, and I don't mean that like as like I'm so cool, I know it's anyone can learn songs.
No.
Anyone can learn songs. Like I used to learn songs like all the time when I was a kid, but I kind of stopped doing that. I just like lost the motivation to like just learn whatever song, and I just kind of focused on whatever I was writing. But I heard their stuff and I was just like inspired by it, and like I don't know. I just didn't. I just haven't had that connection in a while when I heard their shit.
That's a pretty powerful statement, man. To get inspired by sounds, dude. Yeah, I
It was
love that
crazy to
shit.
hear.
Yeah.
Like when we asked him to like practice with us and like play some shows, and he was like, "I already know these ones that are out." That was
Hell
wild
yeah.
for us to hear because we're like, "You actually
He's like a
you're-
sponge.
yeah, and like you're not just our friend, but you also like liked what we made, and then like writing with JoJo now, it's like a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like all
Yeah.
four of us just mesh so well together as writers, and we haven't found what we found with JoJo with another drummer.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
one thing we've talked about in past interviews is like kind of the way we write is less so like, oh, what genre, what kind of style of music are we kind of adding to the song, but more so like what color is this song and what movie does this feel like, or I don't know, whatever. Just more
totally.
and more experiences than like music itself, and that kind of like just art as a whole, and then how can that be like translated to music?
Like making a movie, because when I listen to music, I see a movie in my head playing from the album start to finish or whatever. And my biggest goal in music is to just make that movie in your head as explosive and as vivid as it can be. You know, like I remember in high school when I first, because I was like super into metal my whole life. So when I first started like smoking weed and getting into like rap in high school, I couldn't believe the way like some of those records would feel. Like one thing that always sticks with me is the way that there's that one Dr. Dre song about like, God, I'm going to be so pissed I can't remember it right now, but it's about obviously getting high. And there's a part of it where like these sprayers, it sounds like a Febreze bottle, starts shooting off. And one of the older kids told me, he's like, that sound is designed to make you higher when you listen to this.
No
That's
way.
obviously not true or whatever, but when I listened to that, like I believed him to be true. So every time I heard those sprays, I felt like, we're cruising, smoking bowls in the car. I felt like there was like something coming over making us higher, or even in that one Eminem song where he goes like, I'm in your trunk with the duct tape, and he goes, shh, and you hear the duct tape. That's like vivid. So I've taken that kind of thing, and like you were saying with the movies and stuff, some of my one of my biggest influences for this past year, as everyone knows, has been like the works of Orson Welles. So I try to bring that kind of flavor of like old cinema in. How can I like make this feel like it's in a song some way, like how can I make this song feel less of like you want it to be, headbangy, feely, all that kind of stuff, but I also want it to like do a little movie in your head, or you see like I try to use these words that can create some sort of visual in your head, like if it's Joshua Tell with the karate coded goblins and like talking about finding secret keys and stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Like my hope is to create that little movie in the head, and then the music's job is to be good enough to like the lyrics' job is to make the movie, the music's job is to make the vibe.
Right. So speaking of lyrics, I read over here that there's 3 vocalists, 3 lyricists.
Yep.
So is that you 3?
Yes,
Us
it's
three.
us three.
Yeah, us three.
Yeah. So do y'all like sing on stage and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty even thirds too. We share a lot. Like normally one person doesn't sing one song. There's exceptions to that, but we normally, especially now, writing, like when we were getting our footing with each other as vocalists, it wasn't so common. But now when we're writing, I think all 3 of us sing on almost every song.
Yeah.
Oh,
And yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely noticed, even just playing with you guys, like you guys have gotten, even at the time I've been here, so more comfortable with each other than you have in the past, and like just really just immediately, like when we're writing songs, like you
So those
immediately
first
all
days,
hop on. And
we
you
had
just
nothing else
fucking
but
get
like,
it.
hey, here's this complete song I wrote on my own. Let's work on it. But now we can like just sit in the room and be like, let's write a shotgun song together.
Yeah.
So it takes
Yeah.
away that like
Yeah.
dominance that one writer might have, and I think for me personally, I enjoy it better.
Oh, yeah.
Like the way we've been writing lately, where it's just like in the room.
Yeah, it used to be like Belle and Moore would bring a song and like we would work on it together, and like sometimes I would like look at the lyrics and stuff and help, but then we would just like be like, here's a song, we're all gonna like kind of write our instrumental parts. And now someone will bring a song, or someone will just bring like a riff or something that's like totally uncooked to practice, and we'll cook.
And
we'll
you'll
just,
cook.
We'll literally,
Or even
we just
like
wrote one like
yeah.
fucking,
Well,
what,
when
2
you
weeks ago?
we were in the studio, we'll talk more about
In
that
the
later.
studio.
More about that later.
the stew.
And
We were in the
stew.
in the stew.
In the stew.
And like Sid showed us like lyrics for that song that we just
yeah.
wrote, and like even without like any guitar, any riff or anything to go off of, like I was already like even just seeing the lyrics itself, I was inspired by that, and I think that's a testament to like, how we all like
Yeah.
write together.
Yeah. Or we'll bring something and then be like, hey, I left this spot open.
Mhm.
Like Bell or more like here's some lyrics, or like vice
Right.
versa.
Yeah.
Like, can you like put something in there,
It-
put a little pizzazz.
It's also nice because I can write an entire song and then cut the fluff into a verse and a chorus and then leave room open for them to mess
Yeah.
around, and then you only really get the best of what all of us can offer
Yeah.
instead of somebody stretching out what they can.
I love that what you just said, like the best of what
Yeah.
we have to offer.
Yeah,
'Cause
you
I feel
can
like
just-
we all have so much, especially like lyrics wise.
Yeah.
Like if you went through each of our notes app, I can't imagine the things you would find. But like just all the fucking like possibilities for lyrics that we would have, and like when we're putting together a song, then it's like we take our best and put it together and make something, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. Can you guys talk to me a little bit more about your individual writing process? I guess going down the line.
I don't know. I guess it's kind of been a transition because I was like a writer first, so it's definitely it started as more of like a poetry base. Now I swear I just use that notes app. Like I'll
True.
get inspired. I'll be thinking about something, or I'll hear like a song, or I'll watch a movie, or something that brings, or I'll like see a show too, and I'll either just like write a little like one-liner, two-liner, or write like just a bunch of stuff and then later turn it into like a chorus or a verse or an entire song. It kind of just depends. Yeah.
How do you relate it to bass though? Because I've always wondered that, because guitar is easier to write a song on.
Yeah.
So-
Bass, it's usually a bass line first. So like that's more musical based, where like I'll hear a song, I'll listen to an album, I'll like see somebody live and I get really inspired and I go home and I like just write a riff, and then later I'll connect it
To the words.
to words, or I'll write words that go along with that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, it's probably the same. I try not to write unless the spark is there. Like I try to there's times where I'm like, I want to write a song today and it just doesn't work, and in those times maybe I'll just like rant on prose and just do things like that. But I normally try not to write unless the spark is there, because otherwise it's just not as good. And at that point I'll probably just I used to write full lyrics and then match music to it, but lately I've been trying to write with it, because then you kind of get a feel for what the song needs, and that's something an old teacher I had used to say a lot, was like, you got to listen to what the song needs. Like, it doesn't care if this is cool for you. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter if you like that riff.
It's like the
What does
song
the
is its
song
own
need?
entity type
Exactly,
of thing.
yeah.
Okay.
So he used to say,
That's
kill all your
interesting.
darlings. And that's like my big thing, because he'd be like, oh, you like that riff? It doesn't matter, you know?
Oh shit.
And that's a big approach to writing, and I think a lot of our songs are in that sweet spot of like 2.5 to 3 minutes, and that's because we practice that and we keep it short.
We kill our darlings.
We kill all the darlings.
Hell yeah, I love that.
EP name.
Boom.
Oh,
You heard it here at Hawkwinds
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
folks.
No, I think that's definitely like one of the biggest things like I've learned is like just like pulling back a lot, just in just growing up in general, and like I used to play along with. I've been playing for a long time, and one of the things that really taught me that kind of restraint was unfortunately Radiohead's In Rainbows and like Zionist Dogs. Yeah, Zionist Dogs,
Dude,
and
Not
it's a
unfortunately,
great
man.
fucking album.
Great
I
fucking
will
album.
stop.
I haven't like been able to go back and listen to them because it just makes me so goddamn angry how much of a hypocrite Tom York is. But
And how bad their music is.
and how shitty their music
Tom
is.
Dork.
But just being able to
All
like
right, guys. Tone
again
it
Philip
down.
Selway like
What are we doing?
like the drums in that album are so like controlled and just like stripped back, and like being able to like obviously the shock punk stuff is like not as stripped back as that, but I do try to like again play to the song and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously my writing process is a lot simpler, just coming with drums, but
You do it so quickly
yeah.
though.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
definitely
You'll be like, "What do you want? What do you want here?" And be like, "What do you want here? Like, what do you want to
Yeah.
put in here?" And you'll just start playing, and it's like
I will say like
it's the glue that brings
being in
song
the
together.
room with these three people, like it definitely like they really inspire me to do this is definitely like the most creative stuff I've ever done, for sure.
yeah.
And like I definitely would not have been able to do it like without being in the room with these people, and the creativity they like fucking imbue into everything they do. So
Hell yeah.
That's high
Yeah.
praise.
Yeah, thank you.
I got goosebumps. That's so good.
I feel like, so I am like in this like tricky position where I just like don't have a job. So I pretty much do art all day when I'm not like actively trying to, if I'm not like, you know, applying for jobs or like trying to make some money somehow or do something like that, I'm usually like shitting about making art. So I generally like, the thing with me is it's constantly like being created. I just have to, but the thing, okay. So I have like a whole bunch of side projects, and I do make music all the time for all of them. But what's been cool about Shotgun is that I know when a Shotgun song is being written versus when another song is being written. And in fact, like I hardly write Shotgun songs because Shotgun songs are usually written in the room. Where the other night I just like through happenstance wound up writing my first like Shotgun song in a long time. Where I was like, oh, I want like this song to be shown to the others and see what they put on it, and I could already like see, you know, like there's this interesting pre-chorus thing, and I could hear what JoJo might do with it and all that kind of stuff. So for me personally, like the solo writing is always happening. I'm always like in some dark room with a pinboard and red string and all this kind of maniacal artist creation. But what like what is the difference to me is like what comes to Shotgun is something that has a specific character to it, something that's got a like an untangible quality to it, or something that is just so vastly different from what my solo projects have to say or what they do that I'm just like, this song needs a like a Sid bass riff, or this like what like I'm saying, I wrote this one the other day, and like there's just like loose little pre-chorus part, and I just hear JoJo doing this awesome, like, I don't even want to say it because I want to see if he does it on his own, you know, but just like stuff like
it's
that.
gonna be really disappointing when we go into the practice space.
So like, let's say I write, you know, 50 songs a week, not one of them will be a Shotgun song unless it like really goes outside of my norm and kind of like hits me in a way where I'm like, I think this, you know, this might be the one that kind of stands outside besides the rest, you know?
I'm actually glad you brought that up because I noticed that too. Like I 100% notice when I write like a Shotgun song, and then that's when I often don't build on it on purpose. 'Cause
Right.
I'm like, let's keep
like
this
I haven't
clean.
touched that one because I'm done
Yeah.
with it in my mind until you guys hear it.
I'm glad
know?
you brought that up because I 100% know there's a certain swagger to them.
Hell yeah.
But and also again, like I just even with the song I just wrote, there's a certain part of me that's like, like I just want to get it, because my favorite part is the writing in the room when we're all just jamming and stuff like that. I'm happy that I wrote this song the other day, but part of me is like I'm not super in love with that way of writing anymore, you know, because I can do it on my own, you know, like there's a part of me that could just take this song I wrote and just record it, drop it on Bandcamp, and just be done with it. But again, when it's those rare songs that I'm like, this one might have something to say that I want to be said on the Shotgun sphere of things, you know, like with my side projects, that's for me. That's just art I'm making for art's sake. But for Shotgun, those types of ideas, for me personally, I have more ammunition behind. There's more like, I put this out on the record because I want this to be out there. You know, like
Gotcha.
it gives you like this backlog of I can just create art and just toss stuff behind me, and whenever something good comes along, put that to the side until I see these guys. You know, and then
There's
bring
like
it
more
in.
intention type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
gotcha.
like he said, I mean, just that balance of like, okay, if I want to bring this to the gang, I need to stop right now because this is very like. When you start over writing, it's just one, it becomes your song. Two, it just stops being like fun for everybody because it's so like just doing homework, you know. It's like, okay, this part, but when we're all kind of like, oh, you know, throwing things in,
Gotcha.
it's a lot better.
That makes sense. Yeah, like to write something together as opposed to like, here's a song, learn it type of thing.
So there
yeah.
is a lot of like solo writing between us going on, but I feel like really it's like the room where we really dive into things and where we take those little missing trinkets and half ideas and throw them in. Because I mean, a lot of that stuff too. Like we'll be writing a song, or actually, I'll show you Crazy, that guitar riff I do in the verse, the da 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 dun. I wrote that riff when I was 14. You know, I held on to that for a decade. You know, it's just like we were just playing in the room, and I'm like, hey, remember when you were a freshman in high school and playing this riff for like 20 minutes? I wonder if it'd work for this song, and it did. And now it's just like,
Hell yeah.
It'll like gives me the giggles because I'm just thinking, I'm like, dude, I wrote that a decade ago, fully expecting it never to be like on anything, but it just so worked in the song, So it's cool to see that out there,
Hell yeah. How long ago did Shotgun Funeral start? Like, who started it? How did it even become to be a thing?
It was like 2 years ago. They were
A little less.
a little less. It was it was like November-ish of 2022 where we were kind of like.
That's
Oh,
when
yeah,
we
we
started.
I
Started.
started like I learned the bass and we
Yeah.
started at the same time. They were in Annie's Takeout and they were kind of.
It was done.
It
at
was
that
reaching
point.
their end. Like they
It
were
was
just
done
like,
at
we're
that
done
point,
with Annie's
yeah.
Takeout. I actually started originally just like writing and honestly just like playing bass for Belle's solo project, Coffee No Breakfast. And then we were like, let's start a band in like December. And we didn't really even have a name. We got a practice space at Fort Knox in January of 2023.
Shout out Fort Knox.
Shout out
Fort
Fort
Knox is the
Knox.
best.
And shout out Calico Plaid because
Woot woot.
they're the ones who
They're
like
our-
got us in there
yeah.
and we played our first show with them. We love those guys. But yeah, we just like, had another drummer that we were writing with and we didn't even have a name yet. Like we didn't have Shotgun Funeral until
Yeah.
we were getting super high.
I forget
in,
that we had
in
we
your
had-
car.
we had
Out
the
of a
studio-
monster
out of a
can.
monster can
Oh,
because,
shit.
because they forgot a bullet and I go, guys, I got this. I went to high school in Indiana. Like let me show you.
Yeah.
how
You guys
we
ever
used to do
try
this.
smoking weed out of an apple?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the
Oh,
way.
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
I
It's
prefer
healthy.
that to a monster.
Yeah.
It's
Hell
good for
yeah.
you.
You can eat it afterwards.
Yeah. But then that's when the rotation of drummers started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because our first drummer played our first show and that was it. And then we had like 4 months of shows booked and we were like,
That's
What do we
crazy.
and so that's
That
when.
And
sucks.
JoJo played the first one at Burlington Bar in October of 2023.
Wow.
So I believe in my heart that is when Shotgun
And that's
Funeral
where we
started.
met. That's where we met
Yeah.
Mike
Yeah.
from Sport Peppers.
Shout out Mike.
Yeah,
from
that's
Sport
crazy.
Peppers. Yeah.
A new like label
historic
in
show.
Chicago, started by Mike Hose. He's really dope. He has helped us record an upcoming split that we're putting out.
Mm-hmm.
The last single that we put out called "Please Shuttle a Fox Gun Into My Mouth."
Please show it. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm very curious about a couple of things.
Yeah, yeah.
Also,
of course.
that Burlington show inspired the lyrics for a song that's on the new EP. So a lot of things happened with
Yeah,
that
a
Burlington
lot of
show.
honestly.
I don't even
Shout
remember
out.
that one.
Shout out Burlington.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Shout out
That's
Tiny
a cool.
Stills and the other bands we
I
played with.
legitimately can't even
can't
remember
It was
remember.
the
well
show.
over a year ago. It's
I-
amazing you
Yeah,
remember
I
that.
vaguely
Yeah.
remember pictures and colors.
Yeah, yeah. Two touring bands came through.
Oh, that must have been.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I don't.
It was
remember.
cool. It was a good show.
But yeah, that's kind of how
Yeah.
we got going.
Hell yeah. And then how did you guys come up with the name?
Oh,
That
so
was-
we were in
yeah,
the
we were
car
smoking.
smoking and
Out of a monster can.
more. You tell because
I swear to God, and we've recently checked, and I guess I'm wrong about this, but I
Yeah, so
swear to
don't
God,
say it
right.
because you're wrong.
Yeah,
Just say how it.
say
the
say
story.
the story.
Just
Stop.
say the story.
Yeah.
I won't say the more version of the story. I'll say the thank you,
real-
not the biblically accurate
the
version.
real version.
So we were smoking weed out of this can, and I think I just mentioned like when growing up, babysitters were like a very big part of my life. Like I had these 3 older teenage kids that would just watch us, and they were metalheads, so that's how I got into metal and everything.
yeah.
And one of them, we were playing Guitar Hero, and he named the band on it Shotgun Funeral. So I must have been, I don't know, like 5, 6 years old. And I remember just thinking like, oh, that's dope, And
But he brought it
He
up.
brought
when
that
we
up,
were,
and we
Yeah.
all got goosebumps. I
we
mean,
were
we
all
were
like,
like,
that's
Oh,
totally
dude, we
fair.
have to. And he was like, oh, like, do I have to ask him? We were like, no.
No.
He didn't start a real band with it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
how
he
long
definitely
ago
doesn't
was
remember
that?
But
Yeah.
it's been one of the best things that's happened
Oh,
to the
yeah.
band because I mean
That name.
anybody like that's a big thing that we get a lot. We'll be
Well-
like, hey, I love your band name. I'm like, what'd you think of the actual music though?
I met a guy on
Doesn't
the
played
matter.
well,
Doesn't
right?
matter.
Yeah.
The dude I met on the street the other day, he's like, "What's it called?" I'm like, "Shotgun Funeral." He literally went, "Yeah!"
Oh yeah, that's
And
the
high-fived me.
response. They're like, dude, that's like clever.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
people
I
really
honestly,
like it.
I love it.
So thank you, Jay.
I've had
Shouts out
like
Jay.
older people
Shout out
when I
Jay.
tell them like the name of like Shotgun Funeral, they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna listen to that one.
He's like, "What?"
It's funny.
Is that like the opposite of like a shotgun wedding?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gotta
Yeah.
be.
And then people ask that, and then they'll be like, oh. I'll be like, oh.
Yeah, like, what does that
And you're
mean?
like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you guys have a single currently out. It's called "Please Shuttle a Fox Gun Into My Mouth."
Sorry to make you say that on air, man. First time I've heard someone else say it. Maybe we can. No, I'm just kidding.
So, who wrote it? How did the name even come up? What is it about? What does that title even mean?
So I think it was just too harsh of a name to say, please funnel a shotgun into my mouth.
No, it's because we said it wrong. We were smoking outside of Knox.
we said it was too harsh that
Yeah.
way, and also didn't want to have a double shotgun, in the name. So we just switched around the SH and the F. This was actually one of the rare songs where I wrote and brought it, and then so that's why like Moore plays harmonica on the song, and so there's more room to whatever. But I wrote this one in the midst of a hefty mental breakdown where I thought everyone was trying to kill me and abduct me. So I was having a bit of a paranoid breakdown, and I'd never felt something like that before. So that's what that song is about. And we recorded it at Electrical Audio, which was super sick. And it was a very easy song that came together. We had been playing it for over a year at that point, but in the studio, it was just like magic. Like we were just...
Not to cut you off, but speaking of magic, while we were recording that song, Belle went in and did that vocal run one take, and
shit.
it was done.
It
And
felt good.
Our
Crazy.
engineer Nick was
Yeah.
like, I remember him looking back and I was going, "That's it, like you got it." And we were like, "Fuck yeah,
Oh,
Belle!"
Doesn't get better than this.
Yeah.
That felt good because also that song is obviously very personal to me. So it felt it felt like the song was kind of like on my chest, and that's why it came out so quickly. But yeah.
And that was through Sport Peppers too.
Mhm.
That
That
was
was
another
through
mic
Sport
hookup, and
Peppers
that was
too,
our
yes.
first thing that we've done through Sport Peppers, and that was in the summer.
Well, I think that was like the smoothest of the three songs.
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
was like we did that really
Yeah.
That was-
quickly,
yeah.
and like that's like honestly like out of all the Shotgun songs, that may be one of the ones I connect with most too. So I'm like, yeah.
And that's where our shout out to Scam Likely comes in because we were in
Yeah.
the studio with them that day. They're amazing. They just recently moved to Chicago from Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
So
We're
great
releasing that split.
band, and we got a split coming out with them sometime.
In January.
So yeah,
January. Hell yeah. Can you guys talk a little bit more about that split EP?
yeah. So it's Foxgun and another song of
XC.
ours, XC, and then a cover of Scam Likely.
Yep.
And then they covered one of our songs, "Rot My Friend," and they have two songs on that split as well, two of
Yeah.
their own songs.
Yeah, so 6 songs total.
Yeah, so we were just in there all day. It was a great bonding experience.
Yeah, it was our first time at Electrical Audio. Our first time at like a real
A
studio,
real
to
studio,
record our
and that would
music.
have been so daunting if not for the fact that there were 3 just groups of dipshits in that
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah,
that studio for
yeah.
like how long we were in that studio.
Yeah.
A long fucking time.
Yeah.
One of
like-
the things that I love about what Mike and Sport Peppers are doing is like he brings together these bands, and like we help him find like other bands and stuff. And what we'll do, and we just did it with Yada Yada and Wounds, we'll just go to Electrical Audio and be in the studio for like 1 day, 2 days. With the other bands, and like we'll record like 4, they'll record 4, and like we'll just like we feed off each other's energy. We like sit in the room and like listen to them record, and it's such a great collaborative, creative situation. I don't even know what to call it. It's awesome.
That's
And I don't
pretty
think
cool.
like we would have gotten such great takes if like Scam Likely wasn't there.
Yeah.
Like hyping
agree
us
with that.
up,
Yeah.
and like I wouldn't have been able to sing one of Charlie's songs like without Charlie
Without Charlie
there
sitting in the room.
yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
definitely a really cool, unique experience, I think.
There's a thing on YouTube called Music Mansion or something like that, where they get like all these like famous like YouTuber musicians, and they put them all in like a mansion house or whatever, and they'll like pretty much just like do like challenges or like collaborate on like music with
yeah.
each other. I thought that's kind of like what that reminds me of a little bit.
Sport Peppers Mansion coming out next year. It's
Yeah,
great.
shit.
I'd kill
Yeah, it's crazy. We
everybody.
actually filmed the first episode yesterday.
Yeah.
It's coming out soon, guys. Oh yeah. Was that your first time in a studio?
Yeah.
Studio for
Like,
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
studio?
as
Big
Shotgun, Moore and I had recorded at Rax Tracks before, but even then, I mean, Electrical Audio was just like it was like I think we
Fugazi's
were all
recorded
like,
there. Like that was.
I think
That's
we were
cool.
all like
Yeah, in the actually when we were in the studio, there's like a note from Fugazi
Yeah.
on the fridge,
on the
like
fridge.
That's
there.
Yeah.
awesome.
It was
Yeah.
insane, and a bunch of other
Trent
bands we had
Reznor.
liked
Yeah,
too,
there's so many. Yeah.
How would you guys prepare younger musicians for their first time stepping into a studio? What would you say, like one piece of advice?
set your water cup without a lid on top of the control board.
Don't.
Yeah,
To assert
definitely.
dominance.
Put all the liquids on the control board.
Yeah.
Don't let it be so. Don't let it seem as daunting.
Yeah, I was
as
gonna
it
say
seems. Like, don't let that get to you, because
Yeah.
once you're in, it's gonna look crazy, and you're gonna be like, I'm not supposed to be here. What is this? But it's so fun and invigorating
yeah.
once you just like let that go.
Yeah.
Once you're in there with your instrument or like just doing vocals or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you just remember it's what you do. You know, like,
It's
I,
like
Yeah.
it's what I do.
it's pretty, you know.
You're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I do
You're
this in
supposed to
my
be there,
room.
it
I'll
doesn't
do this in
matter.
this room.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
belong there.
Yeah.
You belong there.
I can be here too, you know.
yeah.
Was there like a moment in time where you guys were, because I get a lot of musicians that come in, they're all like, well, you know, I kind of had like imposter syndrome at one point,
yeah,
where like
sure.
I couldn't, like, I seen all these people in like other like local bands and they were like really good and I admired them and stuff, and then once I got there I kind of felt like I was an imposter, you know.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I was all like, no, we're all like, you know, we're all the same, we're all doing the same thing, you know. Was there any moment like that in your guys' lives?
Yeah, I felt like that up until very recently, because I was
Yeah.
so new to this, and you guys have all been in the music scene like for
It
way
always-
longer, and always
I
been
always
like,
forget
yeah,
that you haven't really done this until like recently, and it kind of blows my fucking mind. Like,
I mean-
you're just so fucking natural at it.
yeah. I thank you for saying that, but
Yeah.
I definitely felt like an imposter. I don't know, like the first show that we played was awesome, and like I feel like the first time performing. And we, performed to a sold out downstairs Sub T. That was crazy.
That's
Like seeing
awesome.
all your friends out there, seeing all the musicians that like I went to see their shows, and like all my friends in bands. I was like, that's so cool that they showed up for us. Like that's
Hell yeah.
rad. And like all that flushed away, like all the doubt and all the imposter syndrome. But like there's obviously times where I'm like writing and I'm like, I don't know what that note is on the bass. Like I don't know. I'm an imposter. Like I'm not supposed to be here. But then I'll like write something really cool and I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. You know, like this is
I would speak on the opposite end of that, which is like if it's your dream and it's really your dream, then fuck it, that's not gonna stop you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
One thing is like for me, like Sid said, like I have mostly like overcome that, but for me I don't think I'll like ever fully get past that. Like I think there'll be moments in my life where that like even 10 years from now that will creep in, and I would like start questioning myself again. But like you just have to remind yourself like you're doing it,
Right.
and it's what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
And like it
If
doesn't
you work
fucking
hard,
matter.
you're not an imposter.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
if
my
you're doing the
thought,
work for it, yeah.
and it's your dream, and nothing that anybody else is doing can affect
Yeah.
that,
Hell
because that's
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let the imposter syndrome feed out the weak.
Yeah, I think just like by nature of always thinking that singing is what I was like put on earth to do, I never had imposter syndrome, because I like he was saying, almost the opposite, where like sometimes I'd be frustrated, like why is this not taking, or what am I doing wrong? Like I thought I'd be further in it by now. And that's still true. Like so I don't deal with imposter syndrome, because I like in my mind I'm like, I'm supposed to be here. What I deal with is like, yeah, just like that confusion of the limbo. You know, we all think that, when you're 6 or whatever. When I thought about this dream, I was thinking, Nirvana levels of like all this stuff. Now it's like I just want to make art that people like, and I can live comfortably off of it. So for me, there's no part of me that's like that feels like an imposter. There's more just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't get that. I get the other, like, oh man, this is taking so
Yeah.
long,
Yeah,
and
I do
sometimes
get
it can
that
be
too.
frustrating
Yeah.
to see like other people just blast off and lap
Yeah.
you, and
Well,
you're not
I think
quite
also
sure
though
why.
that idea of fame is an illusion though.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I saw Reading and I was just like, well, that's what I'll do. That's because I was a child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to have realistic expectations of, well, this is my dream, because
And it's work to get to that dream.
and
too.
what is
there's
the
steps
dream?
that you can
The
take
dream is
to
work.
get there. The dream
Yeah.
is work.
Because
It's
I used to think the
consistent
dream
work.
was like the fame, though. Like when I was like a kid, I was like, I want to be a famous rock star. And then as I aged, I realized like, what is it that you're attracted to? And in high school, maybe it was like the fame, the money, that kind of thing. But after, I'm 27 at this point. Yeah, it's boiled down to what the only thing that's left, and that's just the artistry. Because like I said, I mean, I'm jobless, so I'm, like this is pretty much. This,
Well, like
this is my
Sid said,
thing.
it's
This is
work.
my world. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
it's my absolutely, yeah, no, it's work. It's my whole entire world.
that was a joke about you being jobless. Work.
Yeah, Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
I didn't
yeah.
think it landed. I
No,
felt
I'm
like
saying
needed
I know.
to-
I work at
Yeah,
20
Everyone
hours.
else
now I
landed.
feel like it landed.
I'm working myself to the grave.
Hell yeah. How important do you guys think collaborations between musicians in general are to like the music scene to get local bands more up there?
think it's
Super
crucial.
collaborative.
I'd say the
And
most
I'd say it's
important.
supporting
crucial.
each other
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like the thing. Like we have a notes app where we put in a bunch of like any local shows that we see, and we try to make it out to as many as
Yeah.
possible. And obviously, like we've got jobs and like we've got lives, and like that's tough. But like again, it's work, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's
I would-
also it doesn't feel like work when you're supporting your
For sure.
friends and
Yeah.
like they give that support back to you.
I would dare to say that never mind like your own dream and your own music and what you're doing. If you aren't all there supporting each other, then none of it fucking matters.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
True.
And
Very
and also
fucking
I feel
matters.
like we all feed off each other and like we take influences
Yeah.
from each other
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like I hear a really great song that like I don't like being in the studio with Wounds and Yada Yada.
Oh, yeah.
Like hearing them,
Yeah.
hearing both of some of their takes. Like, dude, they're
It inspires
all
you.
incredible
Oh, yeah.
musicians,
Yeah.
and it inspires you. It makes
It
you
was
wanna
definitely
do
very
better.
nice to have Wounds there first. I was
Yeah,
able to
they're-
like
oh
really
my
get
God.
into it.
I can't hype them up enough.
They're fucking
They're
awesome.
just
Yeah,
shout
that's the
out
first time they've
Wounds,
been
bro,
in the
Wounds.
studio. They're fucking chill as hell.
They're
yeah.
all each
We love those.
of them are
Yeah.
insanely amazing musicians. Yeah.
Love that.
Same with
Hell
Yada.
Yeah, I think it's just also important to be nice to everybody and not
It's not
political
a
and competitive and
competition.
Competitive.
I'm sticking by that. You guys knew what I meant. I just invented
Don't
a new
be
word.
competent
Don't
ever.
be competent.
Competent.
Competitive.
That's our
Take
rule
it
here.
from me. Don't ever be competent.
Don't do your
Take
job.
it from Bella.
If you play guitar, learn the bass.
Yeah.
Hey now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you.
It's funny.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of talk about like you have to go to like LA or like New York to make it big nowadays. But like I feel like Chicago has a lot of like music to offer.
Yeah.
A lot of like not just music but like entertainment in general.
Yeah.
You know, there's a
Yeah.
lot of like
Yeah.
comedians out here. There's a lot of like entertainers,
And
a lot of
opportunities.
actors,
Yeah.
and a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
What do you guys think it'll take to bring that conversation over to Chicago?
I think it's I even think it's here, especially with like local
Yeah.
bands kind of popping off. Like touring in general is, I think, the biggest piece that like those conversations are often lacking, because it's like you can be from LA or you can be from New York, but if you're not touring to other places, it doesn't really
Yeah, if you aren't getting your music
matter.
out
You know,
anywhere
like
else,
the I
yeah.
feel like the biggest component to growing and like reaching or getting to a point where you're continuously like, you know, getting closer to your dream is you're touring. You're like going to other cities and getting other people to listen to your
Well,
stuff.
especially because that's our goal too, is to spread music and to see these
Yeah.
fascinating places, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
where these days, like if you, it's not always the best artists that go to the top; it's who's the best at the internet. So, like you can be really good at the internet and be a really popular band, but if you're not like seeing the country and meeting the people, that doesn't mean shit to me. I don't care how much you
Yeah.
know what I mean. Like I don't not to
I
like
agree
be
with
that way, but like. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that like I would rather go the dirty boots and dirty fingernails route of touring and establishing connections across like a nation with real people than blasting off on the than being very good at the internet and blasting off and building a real fan base second. Probably be like easier that way, but that's just not, I mean, that's just not how we're going about it. And also I think the long-standing bands, that's how they do, you know, like one of my biggest influences, or not even influences, inspirations in terms of like a possibility of where I'd like this band to get, is the fact that like a band like the Melvins has been doing it DIY for over 40 years, and they live comfortably. They tour when they want. They do whatever they want when they want. They're respected by other artists. They've influenced countless bands, and they do it on their own terms. And I think that is especially awesome in an internet age where like, yeah, I'd rather have that path to people that are like, oh, I've seen this band play here before, or like I've heard about them kind of thing. I just feel like you get less humanity off of the internet. What
Yeah.
you're getting is more so people, you're like exchanging goods and services. What you're selling to them is you're the first person to find this band, and then they're supposed to go tell their friends like, oh, you know, but then it doesn't become, once it blows up, it's not cool anymore, you know. Where that's why I don't know, I just prefer, I think the method of just doing the music is is the way to go. Like if you can find your niche on the internet and you can blast off on the internet, by all means, I suggest doing that. But like, the one true solid way to make sure that you don't like fuck it up is by putting in the legwork and just playing shows and meeting people. And what's hard too is you're gonna get tired. Like, my social battery is like, you know, I can go for an hour and then I'm dead, you know?
Me too.
So it's hard sometimes to like, you know, you're touring, you're doing shows, and it's like, but you have to like be like, hey, I'm Colin, what's your name? You know, and you really need to like
definitely
connect
kinda
with
have to,
these
like,
people.
The whole
Push
network
yourself.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and be nice, you know, but like, but it can be hard, you know, when like we're on tour, it's like one of the last days, it's just like, you know, you're so strained or whatever. That's also what's nice about being in the band too, is that everybody can kind of like, if somebody wants to go lay down in the car for 20 minutes,
Yeah.
you know, somebody else will be like the talkative person.
Yeah, that's what's, yeah, like you said, like it's kind of cool about being in a band. Like other people in the band can like fill in where you're like lacking in that moment, and vice versa. And I think that's like really important too.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I do, like, going back to your question, I do think Chicago is kind of has a great big entertainment scene, like you were saying.
I think
And
definitely,
feel like a lot
especially
of bands are
post
coming out
COVID.
of- Yeah, especially, yeah.
And I would say both online and in person. I would say
Yeah.
that they're two separate things. Like you can
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
Chicago scene online if you wanted of like
Yeah.
these like bedroom style bands, or you
I-
could find a scene in person at your like a bar down the street or something. You know.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely changed after COVID, and it feels a
Yeah.
little less together than it used to be. But I do feel like it should be up there when talking about like New York and LA and
Yeah, definitely,
as like
for sure.
entertainment
Oh, yeah.
cities, and
Especially
hotspots.
because like LA is a writing city, so like you were talking about with writing camps, there's not so much of like a scene there for regular. Most people in LA are there to get into a writing camp, like to be a writer. Same thing with Nashville. If you're a country artist, you're going there. You're not going to be playing shows all the time. What you're going to be doing is writing songs for other people. Where like New York is more gig based and Chicago is more gig
I don't know. I
based.
feel like when we were in Nashville, it's all gig based too, like
Oh,
writing. But they're gigging to live
On Broadway.
down
On
there.
Broadway Street.
Yeah,
It was
100%.
awesome.
$20 to get you any song.
Yeah.
Also, the bands that we played with in Nashville too were very much like, yeah, it's like still following them and interacting with them now.
Totally.
Like they're gigging all the time. It's really cool to like see them share stuff. Like
Yeah.
it reminds me a little bit of the Chicago scene. Like out of everywhere that we've played or that we did play on tour, I feel like the bands from the Nashville show that we played with are the ones consistently like playing as
Yeah.
much as like we see Chicago bands here play together, which is
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah, no, there's definitely more gig life down there.
What do you guys think differentiates a band from like a local band to a band that's like actually sorry, a band that's like actually like touring and making like a living out or like making their music? What's the difference between those two? You guys think?
Someone in bands who have the means and the energy and the time to continuously like put together
I
a
think it's
tour and
I think it's being wise about your
Wise,
money
yeah.
too.
Yeah. Well, I would say also just my thing would be relentless. I would just say you gotta just never stop.
Yeah.
Like if you like just keep doing it, just not. I mean, there's nothing in the world that could stop. Me.
But
and
you
I'm
could
sure-
work. You could work that relentlessly and
not get
and not be
anywhere.
smart about it and not do it. So
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
think more importantly, it's the you got to be able to do it your whole life and think
Yeah.
about things like tax write-offs and all that boring shit.
preserve your energy, but also be business smart.
Yeah, you got to think of things really objectively and really third like person looking out of it.
I was interviewing this one guy a couple weeks ago, and he was saying something like, "There's not enough musical people in executive positions."
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys think that would change anything?
I think if they're in an executive position, they're probably inherently gready, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's
So-
my
Depends
philosophy.
what executive.
It depends.
depends
It
your
depends
time.
what kind of
Yeah.
music. Because I mean, what if Radiohead is an executive? What if Tom York's an executive? No, but
Yeah,
I think that's an idea for sure. I think that's like having somebody who's creative will automatically have that empathy for creatives.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, you guys were on a tour already, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? How? When would you guys go touring? And any stories that stand out to you guys from your tour?
Well, we went in October, and we're actually about to start planning our next like big tour for October or like fall of next year, where we're gonna do like another East Coast run. I don't know many stories. Like, I feel like it was a blur. Like, I feel like I look back on tour and I'm like, okay, the planning, like, took every bit of, like, blood, sweat, and tears out of my body and soul. And then we're on tour. It's just, like, driving, unloading the van, loading the van. Loading the van, driving, unloading the van at the hotel or wherever we're staying, and then, like, loading the van and then going to the gig and unloading the van and then, like, playing and then, like, doing the networking, like you were saying, and you're, like, you know,
And
a
then
couple
going
drinks, and then you're just, like, trying to talk
going to
to
the
people,
hotel or whatever.
Or
and then,
some
like,
guy's
loading,
house.
and then
Yeah.
stopping at the hotel again and fucking unloading. It's just all, like, moving, drinking a lot of Monster, drinking a lot of drinks, eating not
I mean,
so
all of
great
our
food.
chests were hurting when we got home from all the energy drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that's
my
another
chest
example.
was
God.
like,
We
like
could be smarter.
legitimate hurting.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, longevity in mind, we could drink less Monster next
Well,
time.
actually,
Shout
absolutely.
out
That's
Monster.
that's the biggest thing I learned
I'm-
on the first tour was like
I got addicted. And
Yeah.
I haven't. I have like a
You're
couple
still
white
going.
monsters a week now. I love them.
was like a more sustainable way to do it because I would say that this tour was like the most like I came out of this tour being like I can't wait to do that again, but I'll never do it that way again. Like I've learned my lessons.
we
I've
burnt
learned,
ourselves out.
We
Yeah.
burned ourselves.
and I
out,
learned
'cause we-
like where I really like where the pitfalls were and all this sort of things. And that's also to go with like the young artists thing. The only way you're gonna like learn is by doing shit, you know. So like
Yeah.
I remember at this like second to last day to the tour, I was just like, I feel like I get this now. Like you know, not like a professional, but I'm like I can come into this again with a better mindset and with like more awareness of like what's gonna happen. Like maybe don't drink more than I've ever drank in my entire life on the day before the 20-hour drive or whatever.
Yeah. Also planning wise, we learned a lot. Like now we have built up such a good list of bands and venues in the places that we toured and beyond. Like we have like a master list, and we're like, I feel like we learned so many lessons in booking and like just like reaching out to bands, cold calling venues, that we're like we have a better timeline now for how we want to do it and how we want to like divvy up the work too. And like I feel like we just have a good plan now to like not get so fucking burnt out.
I will say
You
that
gotta do
that is
everything once.
that is the happiest I've been in a long. Just
Oh,
doing all
yeah.
that burnout, like something. It's so weird because like if you take the music out of it, I'd be like, this sucks. But I'm like unloading the drum set with a smile on my
Oh,
face.
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, you know,
So we can't wait to get back out
And
there.
playing like almost every night is just
Yeah, and
that's
none
the
of our
life,
shows
man.
were really that bad either. Like you know, I mean, it was our first time in a lot of those
Yeah.
markets and
We had
territories.
decent
so,
crowds.
yeah,
but-
Just about every.
Yeah, it was. I wouldn't complain about a single show. They were
Yeah, I
all
like
pretty
learned
good.
how to maintain my voice because like I didn't want, you know, obviously you don't want to lose your voice during tour. And like I think our first weekender I got really sick, so I lost my voice, and I was terrified about that for this tour. This tour I did not lose my voice, so like I learned how to, you know, again like just like the being out on the road for longer stints and learning how to do things like this time I'm not, you know whatever it might be, like you just
Yeah.
figure out like, oh okay, this is, you know.
And that's where we get smart with our set lists too, because all
Yeah.
three of us sing. So I will sing a really hard song or scream really hard, and then have like 2 or 3 songs of break.
Yeah.
And then I can come back and scream, and it's kind of like it's like the look over here magic trick.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. So, speaking of shows, do you guys have like your best show story and your worst show story
Ever or of tour?
ever?
God,
that's
harder.
harder.
That was a good one.
It's also it's a little loaded
no.
potato right there
Yeah.
too, because best show.
That show, I feel like in my mind, might have been Kill and Tell. Our friend Papa Squat is a drag queen,
Oh,
and they have
yes.
like
Oh my
cabaret.
God.
That's an
100%.
easy.
That
easy-
actually, I think,
yeah.
was my
Yes.
favorite
So
show
the
I've ever
drag
watched.
show might have been my
We
favorite
opened up for a
show.
drag show that
Yeah,
night.
we were
and,
the
Yeah.
only
being
band
even
playing,
being
too.
even considered or asked to do a drag show,
Yeah.
honestly, it's like I was like
Yeah.
on the highest of
Yeah.
highs.
Yeah.
Just I was set with that, even though I never played the show. Just being
Yeah.
considered for it, I was like,
And
Being
Okay.
in such
Yeah,
a
yeah,
I'm
queer
good.
space too, like as
Felt
the
good
band
for
that we
us
are,
all,
it felt
yeah.
really
Especially
good and
after coming home
affirming.
from the tour.
Yeah, yes, it felt really good and affirming for us to like
be in that community.
play that show and just be like, yeah, there was a lot of people there. We were super high energy. We were just back from tour like that
Right.
Sunday or whatever.
Oh hell yeah!
And then we were also back with JoJo. We like hired another. We just had a hired drummer
I was
for
not
tour.
there for that.
So
Hired
that
drummer.
I feel like the magic
Homecoming
just
with
it
JoJo,
was
yeah.
like homecoming. Like we're back with our boy.
Hell
Like everything
yeah.
feels so good. That's like
it
one,
was
one
really
of the
like,
best shows, if not
especially
the best.
like those 2 weeks like apart. Like I don't know. That show was magical for me.
Yeah.
Where was the show at?
It was a DIY venue.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
I
It was a
forget what it's
house.
called.
House.
Also, one of the first DIY venues we played in Chicago. Maybe even the first. Like we haven't really played
Oh, yeah.
like house venue.
As
I
Shotgun?
mean,
Yeah,
house,
yeah,
venue,
yeah.
house
As-
venue
yeah.
at least. We even played a ton of house shows, so that was awesome, and yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can think of a worse for Shotgun, but I can easily do it with Annie's.
You can.
There's like a ton, but for
No,
Shotgun,
oh no, you should say your thing.
for Annie's, this wasn't like our worst show, like terrible wise. I think it's just our worst, maybe like from the audience's perspective. And that was, I can't remember the year, maybe like 2016, 2017. You and I were like 17, 18, and we were playing a garage called Insapalooza. It was like a punk thing or whatever. And we got so like geeked on
I was gonna say
Adderall.
I remember the show fondly. I don't know.
Oh,
what
I
you're
remember it
talking
fondly,
about.
but I think it's a bad show in general because I remember we got so geeked on Adderall pills that at one point when we were about to play Pedaling Backwards, I stood there tuning for 5 minutes, but I was tuning the wrong string, but I was geeking so hard. I was like, what the fuck is happening? You know, like trying to tune.
everything was triple speed and
Everything was, double time. Everything was. Just,
which is why I think it was awesome. though.
no, it
That's
was
what- yeah,
awesome,
That's why I
but
remember it
that's
good.
just like.
That's awesome.
I'll
dude.
throw that one under the bus. But,
I think we had played like Underground Lounge on a Tuesday once.
Oh my God, that's it. It
I
was,
was
a Friday.
try-
It was a
Oh,
Friday.
yeah,
I was
remember
just
that.
I was just coming up with a concise version in my head, not to
Yeah.
shit on it too hard, but it was.
Holy shit!
We
I almost
we
forgot
weren't
about
on
that
our
one.
game. Who did we
I
play
think
with?
we played great. I think it was the fact that we
Oh,
played.
we had a
Underground
different
Lounge on
drummer.
Tuesday.
Remember?
We
That
had a
was why it was
different
kind of
drummer.
weird. It was more of an indie
No,
set.
it was our last minute drummer.
That's
Who is
why,
a fantastic drummer,
Because
by the
our
way,
first
but
drummer dropped after the first show, and so we had the second one
Yeah.
lined up in like a couple weeks. So we had somebody learned our set in like a day.
Yeah.
And they're a really good drummer with their band. It was more like indie.
Yeah.
And then we're obviously harder, so they
Yeah.
were hitting pretty
Also,
soft.
that wasn't long enough for them to learn.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't.
Because
It
now
was
that-
nobody's
that's-
fault.
Yeah, now they're an insane drummer for another great band that we love a lot called Edging, and like the way that they all mesh together musically is, that's
And they did
another
us like
shout
that
out.
drummer did us a huge solid just so we wouldn't have to drop it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
so. It was also just
We
you
were just
play a show on a
discombobulated.
Tuesday and
It was
it's
a-
just
yeah.
not going to be
It
good
was a
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Sweet. So personality question. So you guys get home on like a Friday, Saturday night. What's a drink of choice that you guys are pouring for yourselves?
Tullamore Dew and
Tully?
Tullamore Dew and ginger ale with some lime.
This is like the worst choices.
Tully. I'm a bartender. And
they
I
dice
love
for you,
Tully. And whenever my
Gotta
friends
love a
come to
Tully.
see me at the bar I work at, Shakers on Clark, they'll be like, all right. Because I'll be like, do you want a shot? And they'll be like, all right, I guess I have to do a Tully. And I'm like, you don't have to, but it's become a thing. So that's my drink of choice.
My alcoholic drink of choice is a vodka Red Bull or a vodka Cran, but I don't really drink at home. That's more like going out. So my at home. I don't know.
Weed.
Some orange. Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
straight up.
Yeah, weed,
Dude,
for
yeah,
sure.
well,
Yeah.
weed is at home and in between and outside and everywhere.
Whenever you
And
get a
in my
chance.
car when we were
my
outside.
in Sid's car. In Sid's car. Yeah, this is that's my drink of choice. We'll put it there.
Drink of choice, weed.
Yeah.
Mix it in with the vodka grand.
Definitely.
You can actually
Well, yeah.
drink weed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
the
you
high
know.
teas
I-
are so
I've had
good,
those.
dude.
They're
I
pretty-
love high
pretty
tea.
gnarly.
I don't trust edibles, bro.
No, well, I don't
drink-
either, but I like to drink the high
Oh,
tea and then smoke on top of
Drink
it.
more,
I-
dude.
I definitely agree on you with that. I don't trust edibles.
Yeah, 'cause-
Unless I make them myself.
Yeah, because you can measure how much you smoke, and then even if you take a hit and you're like starting to panic a little bit, it'll be like, all right, 5 minutes. But with an edible, that's your
You
night,
never know.
buddy.
But that's
Yeah.
what I
That's
want.
your night.
That's what I
I-
want. Like weed doesn't hit
Sometimes-
me
sometimes
anymore
that's not
like
what
the
I
same way because you know how when you get to that level of highness where you just peak, where like every time you smoke you just feel like you're at the same level. That's when I like to bring some edibles into the
Because
conversation
you're like,
and
you
really
thought.
like what was God, I was watching something the other day and I was so like it was like the first time in like months I was like, oh my God, I am anxious because of marijuana. Like this never happens to me, but what the fuck was I watching? Because I was so high for the first time in a long time.
Doesn't
No, but
matter.
it was funny because it was what was scaring me. I was like, I need to turn this off, and I was like, that's how I know I'm too high. But yeah, no, I'm same as him. I'm not much of a drinker. I guess my drink of choice would be tequila. But when I sit home, the first thing I'm doing is hitting the Benjamin as hard as I can, and then I don't know, maybe
Good
turning on some racing highlights or something. Or
Good old
Family Guy.
Benjamin Button.
The Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Danklin.
Oh, that's a
Go.
good one.
That's-
I don't drink, but I drink a lot of tea. That's really the lame answer.
This is
but-
poison.
What kind of tea?
Yeah, like
Ooh, that's
I like
Green tea?
chamomile.
I
I've been really
Chamomile.
into chai tea. I've never really been
Dude.
into chai,
chamomile and chai are the best.
but I've been really fucking into chai. I literally have chai with me. There's unsweetened, like no milk, no sugar, like just straight
Oh,
up.
that's
And I,
straight.
yeah.
Hell yeah. I got myself high for 2 days one time off a weed steak.
Weed steak.
I made a
Do tell.
steak and
With the butter?
with weed butter. So when it was cooking, I basted it with weed butter. But I put
Dude.
way too much weed butter in
Oh
it.
Yeah.
shit.
I ate it around like 6 p.m. By 8 p.m., I was knocked out on my bed, just knocked out cold. I didn't
Dude.
wake up till next morning, like 10 a.m.
Still
But
high.
I woke up, my eyes were like bloodshot red, and I couldn't even open them. Like I was just looking at myself in the mirror, like, what the
Like,
fuck
what
did
did
I do? So I went to work like that. Maybe like an hour in, I was just like, guys, I have to go home.
I gotta go home.
I'm seeing double of everything.
I gotta go face
Take a
this.
sick day.
That's when I learned not to trust edibles.
Imagine if that cow understood before it died that it would be used to get someone high. What, you know?
Do you think
Are
it
you
would be
high right
happier?
now? That's a high
What
thought,
was
man.
that?
Do you think it would be a happier cow knowing
I say
that
so.
it's getting somebody high?
Yeah, it'd be
Do you
like
think the cow would understand if
this
You're,
is
you're
the-
more enjoying the cow's end than
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, this is true. It'd be
Do you
like,
think,
my
do you think
energy
the cow would
passes
understand
on.
if we gave the cow some weed
I
butter?
don't think
And then you go,
cows think like that.
and they'll be like, I understand.
How do psychedelics play any role in your music writing?
Not
at all?
anymore.
Not anymore.
Not
They
anymore.
Definitely, I would say they played a
Shrooms,
huge
yeah.
role in like the way. I mean, yes.
I think,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say
Shrooms
in
for my
definite
lyrics,
for
yeah.
me, like all of the times I tripped, like for sure redefined the way I write and
yeah.
redefined obviously the way I see the world and stuff like that. So I would not, I would definitely say it has a heavy influence on it, but I've also been feeling the call lately, you know, like where something
the-
deep
I
inside of
have
you
not.
kind of rustles around and you're like, I think
More,
I need
you're the
to,
last
like,
person that needs to do shrooms right now. I think I love you, buddy, but you
I want to talk to
you need
Orson
to get your
Welles.
shit together
I
first.
want to trip so hard.
You ever
Orson
tried
Welles.
DMT before? It's kidding.
I know that. I want
Yeah,
to
that
so
shit's
bad because I
crazy.
want the Machine Elves to be like, there you are, finally. You know, like I know.
We've been waiting.
I am such like a deep diver into like crazy stuff, like the way we think and like philosophies and alien stuff and all this kind of crazy shit. So I am like, as much as I am like an anxious soul and very, very high strung, I'm like, fuck, I have to do that before I die. I need to meet the Machine Elves because I genuinely believe that like I'll have a good conversation with them.
All right,
So
let me
I've been
ask you
feeling the call.
something. What's the most craziest thing or the most outrageous thing you've seen or like train of thought you've had when you were on psychedelics?
Okay, this is a good one because also I've been like at first my heart goes to like acid trips because that's, you get some funny stuff there, but also I've tripped in high school. I and still am a big idiot, and I tripped on DXM a few times. Those trips are fucking scary. Never do that. Never do it. Like one time I thought I saw a severed hand that was like a giant size just like laying on the table, and I shared a room with my little brother at the time, so he walked in. I'm like, is there like a severed hand over there? He's like, no. Okay.
You're like, okay. cool.
And my little brother, his name is Evan. Me and him like have a great back and forth. And I remember one time I took like triple dosed acid or something.
It was
in
SpongeBob
school.
acid off the internet.
SpongeBob acid, yeah. So when I got home from school that day, I had school tomorrow too. So I had to act like I wasn't tripping around my family. Dumbest thing I've ever done. So my little brother like comes into he's 2 years younger than me. Let's say at this point I'm 17, so he's like 15. He walks in the room and he's like, in his mood to like brothers riff on each other. He's like walking in to be like, "What's up, idiot?" or whatever. He goes, "What's?" Oh my god. And I'm up to my neck in blankets and I'm tripping so hard, but I didn't want anyone to know I was tripping, so I was like, I'm sick. And he's like, you look sick, man. I'm like, yeah. And I remember, I'll never forget this. There was this Burger King commercial where it would show, it would flash a $5 bill, and Abraham Lincoln would go, dink, and wink at you, and he'd go, and it would be like $5 sandwich or whatever. And I was tripping so hard that every 5 seconds that commercial would play, like, obviously it probably was in 10-minute intervals or something like that. But I was just, like, tripping so hard. I'm, like, 17 or whatever, like, throwing up in a lunch bin or something.
It was
So
my
parents...
it was my grandma's spam-themed lunchbox.
I forgot about that
Yes.
detail, yeah.
It was like a spam lunchbox from like the 70s, and I was like sending him off to home to drive home tripping, and then just be like, "Here's this in case you throw up." And I was just like, "I'm such a good friend."
I walk in, my father's in a suit. He's like, "How are you?" And I'm running upstairs, black hole eyes. I look at him and I go,
awesome.
I'm like, he's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, you know what Uncle Dave says? You know life. It's taking forever." And he's like, "What?" And I just went to my bedroom. He's like, "The fuck is wrong with that kid?" So then,
That's
then my brother
awesome.
comes in. I'm like throwing up in a spam box. I'm like, get out of here. You know, Abraham Lincoln's attacking me.
I have not a profound one, but a
awesome.
funny one. My brother one time showed me the meme picture of Anne Hathaway without eyebrows
Oh,
on acid,
shit.
and it was like when you look at the sun, like everywhere I look, like that imprint would be like on the wall,
fuck.
and it. And then I look back at the picture now, it did not look the same. Like it was classic, like. Yeah, that was
Well, your brother is so funny when you're tripping too, because he's like equally the best and the worst person to have help you when you trip.
Yeah,
Because one time
yeah.
I took some of his triple dose SpongeBob acid, and I remember I was like rocking, and I was just like talking to him in a room alone. So his older brother in a room alone. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just like tripping really hard, you know." And he goes, "Well, they're triple dosed, buddy." I'm like, "Oh, I wish you didn't tell me that." Like, why didn't you tell me before? You know.
My brother has a tendency to shut down on, and so it's very funny because sometimes he'll just and he'll cocoon, and then 3 hours later he'll be like, "Hey guys." So sometimes it's just like,
But he
if
wasn't
it's
tripping
just me
that
and
time.
him- No.
So he
yeah.
was like bringing me logic. He's like,
Yeah.
"Well, they were triple dosed, buddy." I'm like, "I wish you didn't say that." No, he was good though. He was a calming force.
Yeah, it's good to have a calming force when you're tripping. I feel like I don't remember a lot of what happens
Well,
to me
there's
while
that
I
one
trip.
where you and I hung out, and I kind of.
Helped me
Helped
out
you
when
out,
I was
yeah.
on shrooms and I had. Oh, I don't know. Well,
Oh yeah, maybe you can't say that.
You had an
Well,
obligation.
I had an obligation the next day, and I had to lie out of it because I was literally on the floor rocking back and forth because I was like, the shrooms are like wearing off. We went to the Full Moon
Fest.
Jam.
Yeah.
At Fullerton, and I was like, this is so great. And then we're in the car, and we're literally walking inside, and I'm so good. I'm like chill, good enough to like function. That was really fun. And then their old roommate hands me more on the steps, and that's when it all went downhill. Like I swear to God, I started tripping like double like what I was feeling before. And then I'm literally rocking back and forth on the ground because I'm like, everything's moving. Like, I need to be on the ground. Like, I needed to be in the soil.
felt like
And then I
life
had to,
was
like, I literally was typing out a text for, like, 4 hours.
And I was
like,
telling you, I was like,
and you're like, you need to,
Get
he's
out of
the
it.
devil on my shoulder going, lie. Literally, he was like, lie to them. I was like, okay, I will. But yeah, there's also a time, the sun was starting to set. It was really beautiful. But then I was like, we need to get home before the dark, like, strikes us, you know, like, before, like, it gets dark.
Before we are doomed.
Like, ran into these dudes. We were trying to order gorilla sushi, and then we ran into these guys who offered us alcohol on the street. It was in Uptown. It
Well,
was
you
like,
always take up that.
well, and I said yes, but I didn't know
Yeah,
what I
always
was
a-
saying
always a
yes
yes
to.
to that.
And then they left us their alcohol to go get cups, and then we're just looking at each other like, this is so weird. These guys just gave us their bottles. Like, we need to get the fuck out of here. So we, like, left it. We left a towel over it, and we biked away. And we're like, we need to bike home. We biked to the bar that we go to often, and it's not open because it's COVID. We're like, where are we? And then we like biked to my house, got gorilla sushi, and watched Dude Where's My Car. So it ended up in a good. Oh yeah, best on acid too. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
I've watched that movie on mushrooms at least a dozen times. Like, that is my go-to when I'm trying to.
It's a good go-to.
It's a
Yeah,
good way to
oh, yeah.
land the plane, you know?
I think I quote that movie more than anything else.
Yeah. But I did DMT once.
What?
Ooh, how was
yeah,
that like?
that was
I
in.
don't know if I know that.
I knew you guys, but that's when I went back to Indiana to see some friends. Back when I still did that.
Those weren't machine elves. Those were just people that live in Indiana.
Oh fuck! I wasn't actually on DMT.
Welcome to
but
Gary.
We like smoked it, and I remember like seeing. That's why when you said like, do you remember like what's the craziest thing you saw? That's one of the only things I remember like physically seeing was like. It's like I was flying through this just like kind of 2-dimensional world, but like there was like a jungle around me, and like I just remember seeing all these different things, and then like it wearing off eventually. Like I don't know if I broke through, but it was definitely crazy, and I was like passed out for like 20 minutes.
Wild.
That's awesome.
It was wild.
Hell yeah.
I
We're all
wanna
gonna do
break
DMT
through.
tonight.
But I do enjoy like shrooms. Like I like the capsules.
Yeah.
And I love writing on shrooms too. I feel like I get some of my best writing.
You like writing on shrooms?
Yeah.
Well,
Hell
yeah. I mean, I definitely. Anytime I'm on any drug, I try to make like Josh Motel was written severely under the influence of drugs. Like that's definitely. And any time I've taken acid in my life, I've always like made it a point to like break out the pen. But that one time you and I we all went camping, and I remember I tried to like go into the tent by myself to write something, but all I could write was like pretentious stuff about like. The grass touches my naked feet, and I was like, "Fuck this!"
Every time
I just couldn't all I could think about writing was like naked grass. I'm like, I gotta stop thinking about being
I've had
naked in the
same
grass.
experience.
Like, fuck this.
Do you remember? I might have been that same time. He sat down with the guitar, and the first thing
Oh,
out of nowhere, he just goes. Lions.
Well, actually,
And
that
we were
saved
like,
me from
how
the
did
bad.
you- like, your tripping
Remember, it
mind
saved
just
me from
knew
a
it.
bad trip because I started coming up, the campfire's going. Oh shit, I'm in the woods and I'm about to be on psychedelics. So I'm like starting to get really nervous, and then out of nowhere, yeah, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, so I sit there, and after 30 minutes, I'm like, guys, and I play the whole thing. They're like, what the fuck?
Dude,
That's how I had it.
Worst trip come up I ever had was, you just reminded me, we were at Riot Fest together, and I took Molly and shrooms that day, or was that the acid day? I don't know. It was the last day, and I
was
had
always a good
twisted
Jedi
my
mind
ankle,
trick. You know?
and I was walking around with a brace the first couple days, and then I was fine, or I thought I was fine that morning, so I didn't walk around with anything. And I literally, we get there, okay? We don't even see anything yet. We get there, and I trip in a hole on that ankle, so I'm laying there. I goes, guys, I can't walk. And then I start
5 minutes
and like
after we dropped the
so
acid.
I'm waiting with friends, and then they go get like they're trying to find like a medic or like the medic tent or whatever. And then by the time they get there, it's like 30, 40 minutes later. I'm coming up so strong. They bring a
shit.
stretcher and they're wheeling me away.
picture of her
There's a
somewhere
picture of me.
getting
They're
wheeled
wheeling
away.
me away on the stretcher, and I'm coming up and I'm going, I'm in so much trouble. I'm in so much trouble. And the picture is just me going, ah. And on the inside, I'm like, I gotta get out of here. Like, what if I roll off and just crawl away? Like, but like,
That would've
eventually I'm
been
in
worse.
the tent. I'm waiting. I'm like, I'm okay. The tent's like dark, which is super creepy. And they're just like, yeah, you should really go to the hospital and get an x-ray. Like, this is really swollen. And I go, can I sign something to just not, like, do
Just
that?
leave.
Like, can I just leave? And they, like, wrapped an ice pack. And then they're like, sure. And then I finally, like, emerge. And it's like the tent opens and it's light. And then I see my friends and I go, okay,
Also,
I'm
she
good
was like
now.
laughing with the lady. Like she made
Yeah.
friends with her by
I
that
don't,
time.
I
It
don't
was
even
like-
remember that, so that's awesome.
Yeah, like
Okay,
we
good,
came out
good.
and I was like,
I
I
probably
wonder
was
how she's
honest.
doing. Because I was tripping
Yeah,
hard, so I was like, I
yeah.
can't imagine being in a medical tent, right? And she was just like
I was probably
palling around.
I was probably honest. I was probably like,
Probably.
hey, I'm fucking fucked up.
I'm
Like,
tripping,
please
bro.
get me out of here.
Yeah.
I'm seeing colors. I'm
Yeah.
seeing sound.
Yeah, I'm
Seeing
seeing
sound.
I'm seeing
I-
my ankle bone in my skin.
There's bugs in my skin. There's bugs in my
There's
skin.
bugs
There's
in
bugs in
my
my
skin.
skin.
The bats are everywhere.
I took 4 tabs of acid one time, and I also make music, but I was hanging out with my drummer, and he also took 4 tabs of acid.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
Like where this is going.
so we were practicing, and all of a sudden I started playing guitar notes, and they were all like different colors and shit.
Hell yeah.
But they were matching the colors that he was playing on his drums.
Stop.
Every time he hit a
We
drum
need to
note,
take drugs together. Like,
I in a safe setting.
yeah. Sorry, I'm
mo-
promoting.
in
Real
under
life Guitar
moderate.
Hero.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That
Oh,
was
good
Guitar Hero for
connection.
real.
Whoa.
That's crazy. Oh my god. It literally was Guitar Hero.
So he was
dude.
playing like he was hitting like a hi hat or whatever, and it was like green or something, and I had to play a green note. I don't know what the fuck that is, but
Yeah,
I
but
found
you
it.
did. Yeah, you found it. That's guitar.
That's
Hero.
guitar.
I had to play
Holy
the green.
shit.
It was a total of 8 tabs of acid
Yeah,
between
the
two
of you.
people.
Enough to make a grown man cry.
Yeah.
It was great. Anyways, back to your guys' music. So you guys are coming up with a new EP, if I'm
Yeah.
correct, in May.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're working on the timeline with Sport Peppers right now, but it's looking like May. It's looking like April for the or March or April for our single release as well. Gore Orphanage is like the single. We basically recorded everything in Electro Audio in December. It's still December. I just lost where my train of thought was going. But yeah, we've got like a whole release plan. We're also gonna do like a mini like release like weekender that we're cooking up.
And
yeah,
we recorded almost everything aside from like 2 tracks in one day for the
Oh
EP.
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very like very magical. Like there's a lot of fun
Energy.
things, and we were in the upstairs studio this time, Electrical Audio, which just had a lot of magic and like it was just a crazy place that like it was one of those like moments where I really felt like my dreams coming true and things like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we just I feel like we captured that feeling in our day of recording.
Yeah.
And it was yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and
It was
doing it all
beautiful.
live all at once is awesome.
Yeah, we're doing it all
we're
together, which
all
sounds good.
Magic with the live tracking. Like we'll do the vocals separately, but everything else is pretty. And like sometimes we'll overdub a guitar here and there, but that's
I was very
we love
proud
the
to
live
like
tracking.
go really hard and blow out my voice on the record. Not that that's talking about longevity, not that that's a smart thing to do, but it just felt very good for the session to give literally everything I could physically give, and it's on tape, you know. So
Same.
that's
I
it's
didn't-
on the computer.
Yeah. It's on the whatever on our phones.
Yeah,
it's
you know.
on the internet.
It's on the internet website.
But
Yeah.
I didn't have a voice going into the 2 days there, and I was freaking out. I chugged like a bottle of honey like between those 2 days,
Like
and I was
straight
kind of
up.
freaking
Yeah.
out. Yeah, like it was basically gone.
Over half the bottle. Yeah.
I was kind of freaking out, but I was like, no, this was meant to happen, because then I went and did a vocal take.
Yeah.
And I remember I came upstairs and like
Yeah.
Mike told you guys to like
To
not say
not
anything.
react to you.
And so I came up and I'm like, oh my god, was it that bad? And Mike was like, just listen,
It was
just listen.
perfect. Like
And
we
it
were
was
on the
great.
control room freaking
Yeah,
out.
and then like
It
they
was
were
incredible.
like moving around.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. I don't ever do that to me again, please, because I was
I walked
freaking
in
out.
halfway through her take, and I thought she said she couldn't sing today, and
But
she was like, nailed
That's
it.
that's one great thing about Mike is he
Knows
he
when to
will
hold 'em
he
and when to
knows
fold 'em.
yeah, like we were also while we were recording the song that's going to be the single Gore Orphanage, we took a break from it, and Jojo was like, I'm going to be real, like I don't know if I can do that again because it has like
He goes
some nasty
crazy
double
on the
kicks.
double kick,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's badass. But he's like, I don't know if I can do it again tonight. We're like, okay, cool, we have tomorrow, like we'll do it. And then when we're done with the other songs,
Yeah, we did 2 other songs.
Mike is like, just run it again.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's so good at like knowing us, like he
Yeah.
knows us really well,
No,
as
it was-
people
it was
and musicians.
perfect. Yeah, they
And
all
he's
looked
like-
over from like their separate room and like,
Yeah,
you want
and
to
we're
run
like,
again?
we got that.
I'm like, fuck it. Yeah, I
And
did
we
want
did
to
it,
run
and
again.
it was magic. But he's
It was
also the one who
perfect.
was like, said, just go and try to sing. Like, what's the harm? And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And he's like, see, told you. And we're like, you're right. You're right, Mike. You're right.
Placebo's a hell of a drug.
Yeah,
So
truly
true.
though,
For
true.
There's a
So
sugar
true.
pill.
True. But yeah, he pushes us, and he he really helps us be the best we can be.
Gore Orphanage is the single, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's you guys have a name for the EP yet?
No.
No.
Kill Your
I,
Darlings.
I like
Kill
I
Your
kinda like
Darlings.
Kill Your
Kill Your
Darlings.
Darlings.
Boom.
We're
You heard it
still
here on
workshopping
Hawk Wins
it.
first, guys.
Yeah, we're still workshopping it, but
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. I don't know what just
Bless
happened to me. But yeah, that Gore Orphanage is a road in Ohio that we drove by on like our first show to Ohio or something.
our first out of town show. We
Yeah,
played with
and
Jojo.
we looked it up, and I guess Gore Orphanage both burned down and also never existed. Like it's purely folklore apparently.
Yeah.
But it apparently is an orphanage on Gore Road that burnt down and is now like haunted, but it also never existed.
It's also one of the first songs that we all
Wrote in a
really
room,
wrote
yeah.
together in the
Yeah.
room. I think it is like we've
Yeah.
written all of them, but like this is one that we were just like, it came out of a jam session.
Well, you did that. You were doing the bassing, and I accidentally hit
Oh,
my
yeah, no,
guitar,
that's
and it went,
right.
and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh wait, that's kind of cool."
No,
And then
yeah.
we just wrote the
That's
song.
right. That is
Yeah.
a bass riff that I was like, all right, let's do this like just for our jam. Like
Mm-hmm.
let's start this out, and then we literally wrote a song, and that was our practice that day, and we all came out with goosebumps, going, "This is
That was
insane!"
incredible.
Like that was like the first.
Well,
like,
that was like
big
when we did like a
shotgun
string
song.
of like 8 songs, right?
Yeah.
We wrote like they were like, oh yeah, we had to write 8 songs. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Was that the first one?
I don't remember this.
Well, no, because there's.
When did we have to write 8 songs?
I thought it was like 8 songs.
Do we have to write 8 songs?
Now?
Before.
Wait, what are you? Hold on.
Right
Where
now,
are
right
we?
now.
Where
We
are
gotta
we?
When we broke
No,
Orphanage.
no,
yeah.
that was when we were just.
Yeah, because I was
Damn it.
trying to teach you guys
I
that
swear,
old
maybe
one
that's the
that,
part,
that
but-
we
We were
never
gonna
learned.
work on. We had a couple we were gonna work on. We were like, let's just
And it just
jam
wasn't
'cause it
clicking,
wasn't.
yeah.
But
And
either
then
way,
that
it
clicked.
was incredible.
And that's
yeah.
when we realized that's how we need to write more from now on is just jamming, and because that's what it automatically clicks.
Yeah,
Goes back to writing where the spark is.
but I felt proud because that was like this started off a bass riff
Mm-hmm.
like that. That felt really cool for me.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys planning a tour with this EP or something?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're gonna go out sometime in the spring for a shorter one, maybe just a long weekender.
A weekender?
And then we'll probably
Hardly
go
know
out.
where. Sorry. Hey, laugh.
But
And then,
She's gotta try it in every room
Yeah.
that she's in.
we'll probably go out east again in the fall too, around probably the same time, maybe a
Yeah.
little sooner. But
Yeah.
it was kind of perfect. And
And that one will
East
be
Coast is
accompanied
beautiful
by
in
a third
October.
EP as well.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah,
We're
I
gonna
keep
be-
forgetting about that.
We're going back to
Now we really
got
gotta write 8 songs.
Well, we already have a plan for like 4 or 5. So
Yeah.
that'll be for that EP. So we've got like a good like 2025
Yeah,
plan here.
getting started.
Oh, yeah.
Getting started.
It's really quick how we write songs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's kind of like really impressive
it
for
just
me. Like,
yeah.
So I noticed you guys' songs are between like the 2 to 3 minute like
Mm-hmm.
range or whatever. Does that have anything to do with like today's day and age of like everyone's writing like shorter songs now just to like feed the algorithm and stuff? How much of that do you guys consider while writing songs, if at all, or like is it just meant just 2
I
minutes?
think it's just
I think we
quality
kinda just do
control.
it.
I think it's a matter of what the song needs.
Yeah.
On
or
our
maybe
first
that we
EP,
just can't focus for that long.
yeah,
but
yeah, maybe it's
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
attention span.
Yeah.
On
All
our
those
first
fucking
EP,
psychedelics.
Nicer, the song Witching Hour was initially like a long ass song, and the producer we were working with at the time, Alex of Turn It Down Studios, he shout out him. He helped us kind of be like, this is too much. Like it wasn't an interesting listen. Over half the song was solo, and the other half was like the song. So
And that's fun live.
that's
Like,
an
we still-
instance of
It's great
quality
live,
control
yeah.
though,
Yeah.
and there's no issue for like and I think even like in our lore there's a spot canonically where we can write a 9-minute song somewhere down the road and have it be very interesting.
But as we write too, it's like natural. We're like, okay, cool. This sounds like a chorus. Ooh, let's throw a bridge in here. Oh, this is cool. And then it comes to a natural end.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
as we jam, like we, maybe that's our attention spans, or maybe
We're also
we
very
are
high
just-
energy too.
We are. So maybe we just focus on like, that's cool. Now cut it and like
Mm-hmm.
keep that as what it is.
I
Like,
think
we
we're
don't need
definitely
to
good
add
at,
more
like,
fluff to this. For
all
no
killer,
reason.
no filler.
I agree.
killer, no
Yeah,
filler.
I agree.
That's
Like
the
there's
name
no
of the
there's no
EP.
reason to
That's
like
the
make
name
these
of it,
songs
okay.
longer. Just
someone
for
already
what
did
they
that.
are.
I know that's the joke.
Have you guys seen like the AI generated music? So Spotify is doing a thing where they're creating AI music, right? And so they're creating AI music to have more music up on their thing, so that they don't have to pay a real artist.
Garbage.
Damn.
What do you guys think about that?
But
We
judging
love
by our
it.
reaction, Spotify's my biggest, like, that's what I use, unfortunately.
Luigi, we need you.
Yeah, please.
It's like the same
Free
crux that
Luigi.
I have with, like, Amazon, you know? It's like, fuck Jeff Bezos, but also, where else am I gonna buy,
know.
like, Scotch tape and... I'm trying to think of what's in my Amazon cart right now. I don't know. Just all the random shit you need at once.
Monopoly, man.
Yeah,
Fucking
no.
Yeah.
It's,
CEOs.
Yeah,
Yep.
truly.
Yeah.
yeah, so
I
it's
think-
a shame, but it's also
it is
like
a shame. No
there's
creativity in
nothing I
that.
can do. It sucks because it's also like it's so kind of like embedded in the culture now that like
Yeah.
it would be hard for me to delete my Spotify because
Oh,
I have
yeah.
playlists from when I was
Yeah.
like 15.
Yeah, same.
And I
pirate it
love,
all.
like, creatively
Right,
making...
Put it all on CDs, pirate it all.
But like,
Yeah.
but I need to like remember the,
Then I
the
need a
playlists
Walkman.
and stuff.
There's,
Yeah.
like, there's so many, though. That's a...
But I
so
also like I
tempting.
grew up in a world where music was free, and I think I kind of believe that it should be, you know. But I also, yeah, there's like there's a better way out there.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
also, I feel like they failed with like the Spotify Wrapped because they also tried to do
Shit.
AI
Oh, yeah,
versions
that
of
was
that,
terrible.
and everybody was like they got real time feedback of like this sucks because you fired all the people who did the really cool, quirky like this is these are your musical genres throughout the year, and like they changed that to AI, and I feel like they got that feedback.
Nobody
Well,
wants
that was
AI
real.
but the CEOs because
Yeah,
it is
because
such
money,
a
but-
it can just
Yeah,
decimate.
but they also know
jobs.
they're not gonna lose like that's feedback, but they're not
Yeah.
gonna lose those.
Also,
people.
the AI on my day list is so fucking insulting. I don't know what Sunday college sob
Yeah,
rock
dude.
is, but leave me the fuck out of
yeah,
it.
or it's like
This
emo
shit's so
revival,
mean.
whiny bitch.
Yeah,
and
it
I'm
really
like,
is.
fuck you,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty accurate for you.
Your dad doesn't love you Wednesday.
Mine is something crazy about like pink old lady
Doesn't have a
something.
job.
Yeah, it doesn't make
Doesn't have a
sense.
job core. No, that would be right. I'd be like, doesn't have a job
have
core
a
is
job
probably
core.
what
Yeah,
I
you guys
listen
are
to.
complaining, but
Slint
I don't know, it sounds
Melvins,
pretty
like-
accurate to all.
If you're
That's why I
listening
use
to-
Apple Music.
Yeah, if you're listening to the Melvins,
Apple, the company
you
that
don't
has
have a
no
job.
problem.
No, you're ahead of the curve right there, man.
Apparently, one of my top genres was bougie football rap.
Oh, that's
What does that even
that's
mean?
Bougie football rap.
Bougie football rap. Apparently, I listen to Travis Scott.
yeah,
That's immediately
that's
right.
messed up.
Football rap. Yeah.
Oh my god. You have like a Fortnite hip hop
Yeah.
Saturday is,
Yeah,
your,
that's-
is your
yeah.
day list.
Dude,
That's,
they just threw words together. And they're like,
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
it, they won't look into it. They don't know.
Yeah.
Do you guys think AI will ever take a significant role in the music like scene at all? 'Cause, right-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For like for people don't really not a lot. Oh man, this is like a weird theory I have, but I think that like
Lay it
not a
on
lot
us.
of people like music in the way that they think they do. You know what I mean?
I
Like
agree
there's
with that.
too many like Taylor Swift stans. There's too many like Radiohead stans to like sit here and be like people know what music is, which is also my taste coming out. You know what I mean? I just take what, like I think because there's so many people, the most popular thing generally is just buy the product of the machine gonna be bad. So I feel like once AI kind of hits a stride with like figuring out what people want, like I don't think it would replace Taylor Swift type stuff, but I think it would wipe out all of like lo-fi artists and all of that kind of thing.
there's
I
something
think,
to be said though that a lot of those artists are kind
Replaceable.
of already AI-ish by
Yeah.
by like the music that they're the tracks and
But this
stuff
is
that they're
this is actually
using.
my point though. I think to the broader stroke, absolutely. Like when people want studying, that's fine. But
Yeah.
like with people then like music kind of nerds like me, where when I listen to lo-fi, I'm not
People
like
just see
I don't
it,
listen to it to
yeah.
like study. I listen to it because I'm like interested in what the guy like the producer's doing, so I do
Yeah.
want to hear like if I'm like listening to lo-fi, I'm listening to it from a nerd perspective, not like the homework perspective, where when I was in college that was the biggest thing that they like prophesied about. They said to us the industry is changing from like artist based to mood based. The industry will become a mood based. Like my professor told me, he's like in 4 years it won't be punk playlist, it'll be fast thrashy party or something like that. Or he's like people are gonna go to they're gonna be looking at ambient mixes instead of like going to their favorite lo-fi artist or
Yeah.
something like that. It's
Yeah.
becoming a mood based
Yeah.
like people aren't I mean I don't know, it's hard for me to say because again like I think especially for like I don't know about your guys' listening habits as much, but I know me and Bella are like super like nerdy, especially me. Like I need to know every detail about the band, about their history, all this sort of stuff.
I'm
So-
researching as I'm listening.
Right,
yeah.
so like I don't think AI could replace that because like half of what gets me into a band, like I used to not
the
like
For,
the
like- for,
Beatles
like,
until I
real
learned
music
about who they were as
lovers.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that like
But
the
real music
mass of
lovers
like
aren't the
like
mass,
the
so
Taylor
that's-
Swift, like the whole like like the Fortnite concerts, like that kind of music, I think will definitely like dabble into more. Yeah, there are
There are
concerts in
concerts
Fortnite,
in the
but they'll
server.
dabble
Fortnite.
more into like the AI thing. I think maybe,
Juice WRLD just performed in Fortnite.
which is
There you
horrible.
go. There you go.
I don't know
How?
why they would put a dead person
Yeah.
in a game where you can kill people. The fact that you
It's
can now
crazy.
kill
I'd be
Juice
down to
WRLD
play in
is crazy.
Fortnite.
That's like, yeah, no. Let me go on radio and say now, please don't like put me in a video game where I could be teabagged when I'm dead. You know?
After you
I
die.
think
Yeah, yeah. If I'm alive, maybe
Maybe
you
if
can
get the money.
teabag
If
me.
you're
Yeah,
getting money and you're getting
Yeah.
paid for it, it's worth it. But Juice WRLD doesn't get anything out
Yeah,
of
that's
that.
no,
crazy.
his family
That's
does.
His family. The
But-
people that were crying at the Juice WRLD concert, they were the ones
They
that
were,
really got
yeah.
something out of it. That felt. that
and
felt
that's
it in
like
their
I think
soul.
AI has definitely it could sink its teeth into a lot of that, especially with like stuff like God, like I don't even know. Like people will listen. I mean, I'm starting to think that AI will get to the point where like somebody will just be like, "Damn, I really I really like Bleach by Nirvana, but I wish I could have more of this album. AI, like, program me
yeah.
another hour of
sure.
Bleach specific sounding Nirvana,
That-
and
that's
they'll do
already
it.
a
love,
thing.
people who
Yeah.
love playlists and shit who are like, find me a bunch of other songs that sound like this song. Eventually, they'll be satisfied by
With the
just
AI.
a bunch of
right,
AI
yeah.
versions of that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the hard thing. I think like
Yeah.
when we're in like music scenes and with other musicians and other artists of
We
other
see the world
mediums,
differently.
it's like, oh
music
yeah,
world, at
see,
least.
so many people agree with us. We hate AI, but like
But it's
that's
not the mass.
we're in like a little echo chamber of like
Yep.
people who agree with us, and like that's not the case because like most people don't give a shit about
Yeah.
that, and that's the same with like artists too who do like painting and like digital
Yeah.
art and stuff like that. Like those artists obviously care a lot about it and hate AI, but like the majority of people don't give a shit.
Yeah,
about
like
that.
they'll have AI in their house. They don't really care.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like we are like, oh yeah, AI is never gonna be a thing. It will be a thing because nobody
Yeah.
cares.
I think AI, just like any tool, can be used for good or for evil. And right now, a lot of people are immediately using it to steal.
Evil.
And
Yeah.
to say that it should never be integrated in music, I don't think is true. I don't think it should create music. I think it's a tool, and you should
Yeah,
use it
there's
for
tools.
good or evil. You can
Yeah.
use,
And you can use less of it. And
you can
not,
you can steal with any artistic tool.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you should. And our AI makes it really easy, so people are that's the first thing they're doing with it.
But what I also think is really maybe perhaps like exciting and cool about that is I used to like care so much. But this goes to two levels about physical abnormalities on myself, but also like musical ones. Like I it had to be perfect because I wanted it to sound perfect. But Chris Novoselic from Nirvana I was like listening to an interview with him the other day, and he said, he's like, my prediction is that in 100 years, all bands will sound like the Melvins. Because if you're not aware, the Melvins are very like sludgy and sloppy. His point being like, music is going to become so redundant, and especially with AI, they're going to get that guitar part perfect and stuff. The only thing people are going to crave is sloppy feedback,
Yeah.
distorted, fucked up, missing notes, lyrically missing notes on the guitar, because it's going to be the only thing that you can prove is real anymore.
And then
So
they're
in
gonna
100
love Shotgun Funeral.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
suck.
Oh,
They
you like
sound like
sloppy,
shit.
shitty music? Have we got the band for
Listen to
you?
Shotgun
Perfect,
Funeral.
perfect
Hell
anti-AI
yeah.
music.
It's your time to shine, guys.
Like, 'cause for real though, I mean, they're gonna nail what I grew up trying to nail, which is I wanted like a
mom?
perfect,
Sorry.
I wanted like a perfect, pretty face, and I wanted like really clean guitar parts and stuff like this. But they're saying with in the future of like plastic surgery and all this kind of thing, like both physical abnormalities and then in art wise, those things are gonna hold more stock because it's like I can tell you're actually human because you fucked up that note or because you have a
Yeah.
zit on your face or something, you know?
Yeah.
Like that stuff will hopefully have more stock in the future.
Until AI figures out how to replicate that.
Never
Yeah.
fucked.
Yeah.
Then it's game over. What?
Uploading imperfections.
Yeah. Once AI
Make me a
replicates,
shitty song.
He starts playing Fox Gun.
once it starts playing Shotgun, we're cooked.
Oh yeah, guys. So we're gonna wrap up pretty soon, but I just have a couple more questions for you guys.
Yeah.
So I guess if you guys could each open up for, I guess Shotgun could open up for any band ever. Who I guess going down the line, yeah,
Ever?
dead or
Ever?
alive, yeah.
Oh God.
Who would you guys want to open for? Going down the line, I guess.
I'm gonna. Well, I think I know what Moore's gonna say. I'm gonna say Thursday, even though they're alive and
Oh, dead or
time.
alive, so it doesn't matter, yeah.
Of all time, it's really that's a hard question to be asked on the spot, and I don't know if I've thought about of all time.
Yeah, of all
Like,
time is
right now though is because I'm like always thinking about our goals, and I'm like, who would I love
Yeah.
to open for? That's in reach, you know.
I was gonna say
Thursday.
Melvins until we said of all time. Now I'm like,
Beatles.
well, now I'm thinking Beatles, but
Oh.
Beatles we would
Beatles.
suck opening for.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I'm maybe
they
more
would be
like,
like, what the fuck?
maybe more like Nirvana or Fall Out Boy.
Nirvana would be, or you know what, Fugazi too.
Mm.
I love Fugazi, and I think that matches our sound enough that I think they might even.
I
dig us a
think
little bit.
for me, what would be really fun and kind of maybe out of left field, but going based off like what we've also said, like what was one of our favorite shows was the drag show. Chapel Roan would be.
That would be
Yeah,
sick.
that's crazy.
to
If,
open
I
if
for.
she
like
wanted
that.
that chaos in her life, let's do it. No, but actually, that's a
Or
good
No
point. I
Doubt.
would love to like kind
No
of
Doubt.
do something like that and kind of like just
Yeah.
fuck up the status quo. You know, like I think everybody's interested
do
in
something crazy.
So
Yeah.
so many different things that I can't think of one like indie folk artist who wasn't also raised on emo at this point. You know, like back in the day, genres were so much more divided. Where now at this point, everybody's like kind of mixing. So I'm sure Chapel's got some Shotgun adjacent sounds on her playlist somewhere. You know.
Let's open for Post Malone.
There you go.
No, what's your real answer?
He
What's
can
your
scream with
Post
us for
Malone on the
cartography.
Fortnite concert.
Yeah.
answer?
I'm gonna floss on stage.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What's your real answer, Bo?
That was my
Oh,
real
that is?
answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking about it, but yeah, I don't know.
Hell yeah.
I just think that. I mean, he likes heavier stuff. He can
Alright.
scream during cartography.
I mean, that'd be one hell of an audience pull for sure.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that, like
You
I said,
asked me of all time, and then you said Post Malone.
Well,
I just want to
I feel like that-
rewind that.
I feel
That's
track,
a bit-
okay?
No,
yeah.
going off the chaperone, that makes more sense.
yeah, no. Well, of all time,
It's
it's,
very
like
big
hard
time.
for me not to just be like Nirvana, you know,
Yeah,
like because
yeah.
I'd love
Sure.
to be like,
That's
hello,
why I
Kurt,
didn't
I'm a
want
big
to, yeah.
fan, you know.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, but like realistically, I feel like there's definitely an alley for us to like open up for
Yes.
Melvin someday. So like that to me, when I'm thinking of all time, yeah, I guess I'm going with like Nirvana or something that you pretty much can't do anymore.
Yeah.
We could open up for System, maybe.
Oh,
Oh,
that'd be
that's-
sick. Yeah.
Is that your real answer?
Yeah, that's more quality.
That's better.
That's, good job, buddy.
So, do you guys hear about Gojira on the Olympics?
No.
Oh yeah.
wait,
Gojira,
yes.
Gojira played in the
'Cause they're
Olympics,
French.
and it was pretty like
Oh.
wild to see a kind of
Really?
like that kind of metal band,
Metal,
that kind of like
yeah.
hard, heavy
Metal as
sound.
fuck.
It's like knock loose
To
on
open
Jimmy
up-
Kimmel.
That's what
Yeah.
I was also gonna say.
That was badass.
What do you guys feel about like the I guess uprising of like all these metal bands into the mainstream?
Dude, I
Let
love
me
it.
in.
I think it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Let me in.
let me out. let
I
me out.
think we have a very I think we do that Nirvana balance well. We're very heavy, but it's pop sensible. Like there's a melody, there's a reason why you want to listen back to the song, other than like this sounds heavy and cool.
It also-
It does sound heavy and cool, but
It also like breaks down so many doors for other bands, but also I love that it's like, yeah, like get more people to listen, and also like the what metal and like punk and like that kind of heavier music is about at its core is like going against the norm. So like being able to do that at the norm, or like where those barriers and doors are, like
Yeah, for sure.
hearing all the moms and stuff complain about like their kid watching Jimmy Kimmel, and like they're like, that was like
That was
crazy. And, like,
scary.
no, it wasn't. Like kids love knock loose. Like
Yeah.
that was actually really
Yeah.
cool. But it's like that's what a lot of that music is about.
And it's also so
Well,
cool.
at its
Like it's
core.
such a. I remember like seeing Slipknot on Conan and being like, are you,
Yeah.
but, like how
Like,
is
that's
this?
so
he,
badass.
he goes.
Yeah.
He's like, welcome Slipknot. God help us all. So it's like that is just the
Yeah.
coolest.
I'm a
Well,
big
in
fan. I
my
think it's cool.
like, I know a lot of people, especially like in the metal and punk scenes, are like, "Oh, I'll keep our music out of the mainstream's hands or whatever." I'm like,
I wanna eat.
dude, my answer to that is your band sucks too.
yeah,
But the difference is nobody knows who the fuck you are.
Right?
So like,
It's like
If
I
you
got
wanna-
like I can't like I just have had this Bill Burr quote like ringing through my head lately. He's like, the greatest artists don't get out on top. It's whoever's the best at the internet. And I'm like, that's again like it's just that's kind of the state we're at right now.
I
I,
think the
doubt
model's
that'll
is,
be.
changing
yeah.
though. I think the
Yeah,
industry
I don't
is
know if that's
changing
gonna how
away
it's
from
gonna
that.
be forever,
I think
but
it's
at the
changing away
moment,
from
it's
that.
definitely if you're like super savvy with tech, you can kind of like almost fool people into thinking you're bigger than you are. So when you go to play, the audience is there.
I think the industry is living in the wake of booking and signing
Yeah.
artists based on how well they can make
Yeah.
following on TikTok or
Right.
whatever. We're seeing that there's no longevity to that, and
Yeah.
people don't want that anymore. I think the industry is changing that way. Also, on that note, is heavy music not inherently more expressive than pop music? That's why it's more popular. That's why it can get more popular.
Yeah.
It's more connected.
Oh yeah. So before we end this, is there anything else that you guys would like to talk about or promote, or you guys have any upcoming shows?
Friday,
Oh, yeah.
we are playing
This Friday.
with Poison Boys, Pure Intention, Satin Black at Beat Kitchen.
Beat
Doors
Kitchen,
at 7.
Friday,
show at 8.
12:20.
Friday,
12:20.
12:20.
It's like a
Okay.
holiday punk show.
Yeah, come
Hallelujah,
be
holy
festive.
shit.
the
Yeah.
Holly and
Yeah.
Jolly and all that.
Come be a Crumpus.
Yeah,
At the
um,
Shotgun Funeral Show.
Yeah.
It'll.
We're stoked for that. That
Yeah,
one's
it'll be
gonna
a really good
fun.
time. We haven't played a show in a little minute here since Halloween.
Ooh.
So no,
We just
not true.
played
We just
one.
played
We just
G-Man
played a G-Man with background
last month.
characters.
Yeah,
Shout
we
out
played-
to
but
them. We
regardless,
love
it's
them.
been a minute, and
And
we're
Super
super
Kick.
excited. So come out and buy your tickets now because they're cheaper online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Support local music.
Support local music.
Before we end this, what's one piece of advice you would give a younger starting off musician?
Kill yourself.
That's a
And it
famous,
now.
That's a famous search.
We've now been
JK quote.
unmonetized,
He
guys.
did that.
Put in the work, and you can definitely make stuff happen. If you like really believe in it, and you put in the work to be better. If you feel like you're not already at a good starting point, yeah, put in the work for it.
Hell yeah.
And building off of that, like, get out of your head. Like, it's
Get out of your
okay.
head.
You're okay. And, like, just do what you got to do and, like, don't worry about anyone else.
On top of that, I would say, yeah, like fix the hole where the rain gets in. It stops your mind from wondering where it might go. Obviously, that's a famous Paul line. But I think that's one of the things that changed my musicianship the most, where I was just like, the amazing stuff that you're looking for lies beyond the point where you want to stop yourself. Like when you're like, oh, that's a little cringe. Go further. See
Yeah,
what
keep
else is
going,
there,
yeah.
you know? So yeah, never like exactly what you were saying. Like don't
let
be
the doubt
self-conscious.
keep you.
Do the most cringiest out of line thing you can do and then scale it back from there. Just don't let, just fix that hole,
It's like the only one stopping you is yourself type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, maybe Paul McCartney should have been stopped because he got too whimsical after that. But no, I'm kidding.
I would say know what's art and what's business, because it
Yeah.
needs to be both, and you need to know what's what.
Yes.
Oh yeah. That was great, guys. Well, guys,
Thank you.
It was a pleasure talking to you guys. You
Shout
guys
out
are a lot of
Hawkwind.
fun. Hell yeah. I love all the
And cut.
Oh yeah.
Thank
Oh well,
you.
thank you guys for coming.
Thank you so
and,
much.
uh,
Appreciate it.
I
This was so
definitely
much fun.
plan on catching one of you guys' show at some point.
Hell yeah.
For sure, man.
I'd
love to see you.
Definitely.
Yeah, 12:20 this Friday. If you're not there, we're not forgiving you.
12:20. You better be there. Beat
12:20.
Kitchen.
At the
Oh
Feed
man.
Kitchen.
Well, so send this off real quick. Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, that was Shotgun Funeral. Very cool people. And whoever's out there on the interwebs watching us live today, thank you very much. Like and subscribe and smash that subscribe button, whatever they say. Anyways, this is Hawk Wins. I'm your host, Jay Smooth, and we have a special guest today, Mr. Anthony. Whoop, whoop.
Coming in.
Thank you very much. Hope everybody